What's going on, fellow A-plusers? It's your boy, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. After a long hiatus, enjoying the holidays with our friends and family, getting myself a new laptop, A-Plus Hero Report is certainly back, and we are ready to go ahead and get into all the juicy content for you guys here once again, as we're going to be going through 6 topics for you guys that we thought certainly you deserve to know about this week, along with a couple honorable mentions to kick off our show, and of course, wrapping up with live viewer questions. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for another episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news. It's honestly so good to be back. I thought I would stumble over my words, honestly, Stuart. But it's so good to see everybody. We got the whole, well, not the whole band back together. We are desperately missing Indy here. Hopefully, things will certainly turn around for Indy, and he will be joining us here once again rather soon. So continue to give great wishes out there to Indy, man. We miss you, buddy. Hopefully, we get to see you soon. But Stuart, 2/3 of the band is certainly here. It's good to see you again, buddy. You are on mute, just so you know.
Yep.
But it is good to see you, man. How you been?
I've been pretty good. Definitely missing these, weekly podcasts, but it's good to finally be back. And, I got to say, one thing that's really surprising me in a good way is how many viewers we have live right off the bat. I was worried.
I know.
I was worried with how long we were going to be gone. Like we would have maybe 2 or 3 live viewers, but we're at 11 right now. And looks like the comments are doing pretty good. So that's awesome.
You missed us. You really missed us. Yeah, it feels good to be back and talking to everybody. I mean, we've kept in touch, obviously, since we haven't been going live. But the idea of not being able to see each other and communicate like this, man, it's been tough. So I'm really glad to see you again, Stuart. Glad you're doing well. And yeah, man, I'm ready to get into some great topics today.
Same here.
Who do we got here? We got our whole crew usually coming through. Let's give some quick shout outs, show some love for the people showing us some love. Good old Francois certainly back. Roberto certainly in the house. We got Enrique Perez here. He says, hey, Adam, 2023 is here, which means Power Rangers 30th anniversary, which we'll talk about that for you guys today. New Marvel movies. We got some topics about Ant-Man and the Wasps for you, and TV shows coming, animated films like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and more. If you guys have not seen, we were able to at least post some content while we were on hiatus, and me and Stuart did a top 5 most anticipated movies for 2023 video for you guys. Check that out on our YouTube page if you haven't done so as of yet. Power Rangers Legacy is here as well. Good old John Schuyler's back, followed by good old Nicole Robertson, certainly through and well. The most talented man in the world is back. We missed you, buddy. Good old Jack Daniels, because it's 5 o'clock somewheres with us today. Abase is certainly here. Dino Knights Fight for Your Rights. Good old Carlo Bernardo. We got Jackson Peterson, not to be mistaken for Peter Jackson. Gabriel Galasco is here also, followed by Carter Matthews. Good old Michael is certainly here, along with Morgan Hutchison. What's up, George? Good to see you in here, George. We got Kenny certainly joining us today as well. Alexander Rosario certainly in the house. Who am I missing? Blossom is here. Look, no episode would be complete without Marcelino certainly coming through and showing some love. We got Lawrence here with us today as well. My boy Doomsday's in the house. He says, when the world needed them most, they made a comeback. That feels like something out of a trailer or something like that.
It's almost trailer. Like the opposite of Avatar: The Last Airbender, where in that show it's, and when the world needed him most, he vanished. But for us, it's when the world needed us most, we came back.
Hey, that might be a play off of what he's trying to go for. We got good old Datilla here. Who else am I met? Oh, Red is Not a Flavor is joining us today. I need to know what Adam thinks of those Cosmic Fury suits. We might talk about that briefly here today. And of course, good old Daniel is here as well. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Listen, if you guys are in the live chat, 14 viewers, I need to see 14 likes. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. If you haven't subscribed to us, please certainly go ahead and do so, as A-Plus Hero Report is back. All right, Stuart, I'm going to shut up now, though, because it's time to get into some honorable mentions, sir. And I'm going to give you the floor here. You got any honorable mentions you want to talk about today?
The only thing that kind of comes to mind, and it's funny because this isn't really something I talk about too much, just because I don't really keep up with the music industry very often. But I just found this story like just so funny that I had to bring it up. So there's this band that that I listen to every now and then called Glory Hammer, and they had recently like kicked out like their lead singer, which I guess the lead singer wasn't happy about. So it almost kind of seems like a Megadeth Metallica kind of situation where
Ah.
lead singer now has started his own band. But here's like the funny part is that they're still working for the same record studio, Napalm Records. So I guess he has the rights to use like the likenesses from the band from before. So in this new song, their first like song that they released, it's basically him wearing the same armor, ripping it off and revealing like gold armor underneath it. And basically the whole song is him just kind of saying, "We're Glory Hammer, but better."
Oh no. Oh no.
So it's like a modern day Metallica Megadeth kind of
Metallica.
rivalry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, talk about drama, man. Oh my goodness. Well, hey, I appreciate the honorable mention. Yeah, I've never heard of Glory Hammer before. What's up of I'm assuming it's just rock music?
It's like power metal, but it has
Oh, okay.
what's cool is they have like each album is basically like kind of a story arc, and each song is like a chapter to that story.
Oh, that's
So
pretty
it's
cool.
like this really cool epic space fantasy type of thing.
That's actually pretty cool. I feel like that's something Jack Black would absolutely love,
Oh
honestly.
yeah.
Let's see here. What other honorable mentions we've got for you guys today? A couple things. Listen, me and the girlfriend, believe it or not, we just wrapped up Cobra Kai season 5. We're super months late to the party, but we literally finished watching it maybe like a week or so ago. And lo and behold, this week, Stuart, we wind up getting ourselves a an announcement video from Cobra Kai that season 6 is officially going to be the end. The showrunners actually went ahead and released an announcement, also letting us know that season 6 would in fact be wrapping up. They also did a video and things like that. Also, you can go ahead and certainly find it over on our Facebook page. If you haven't checked out our Facebook page yet, all our links are in the description box below for you guys. But we did go ahead and put up this announcement and the announcement video itself. How are you feeling, Stuart, about Cobra Kai wrapping up with a 6th season? Does it feel like that that's a proper amount of time after all the episodes that we have? Do you think that they could have gone for longer? What are your thoughts on them saying farewell after this upcoming season?
You know, I am totally cool with them ending it here. And it's funny because literally I've been having this ever since season 1 where I keep thinking, okay, I could see the show going on for maybe one more season, but I don't really see how it can continue after that. But then after that season ends, I'm always like, okay, never mind, one more season. And so with season 5, of course, I have the exact same feeling. I'm like, okay, I think we could do one more season, but depending on how this season goes, I might like demand another season after it. Who knows? At the very least, though, it would be kind of funny if they had like kind of a movie special at some point, like not
Oh yeah.
necessarily right when season 6 ends, but like maybe a couple years down the line, just so they can finally fit into that category of 6 seasons in a movie.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely would be a possibility. I would love to see something like that. I won't read the entire breakdown here for you, but they do say, our day one goal with Cobra Kai has always been to end on our terms, leaving the valley in time and place we've always imagined. So it is immense pride and thankfulness that we're able to announce that achievement. The upcoming season 6 will mark the conclusion of Cobra Kai. While this may be a bittersweet day for the fandom, the Miyagi verse has never been stronger. This fandom is the best on the planet, and we hope to be telling more Karate Kid stories for you down the line because we all know Cobra Kai never dies. So they do hint at the idea of possibly maybe doing more at some particular point in time. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you, man. I do think for me, look, I feel comfortable with 6 seasons being the end of it. After watching the conclusion for season 5, I'm like, okay, so the big bad is kind of being captured, and but we do have this loose story arc for one of the other characters that certainly needs to be resolved. So, it makes sense that maybe things kind of come full circle and finally end off when it comes to season 6. I will say, while season 5 for me started off relatively slow. Like it was just really difficult for me to get through like the first 3 or 4 episodes of this season for some reason. Like it felt almost like it went backwards and started feeling more like the YouTube show than a Netflix production for some reason over the first couple of episodes for me. But once we got to like the pool scene, I think that might have been like episode 5 or something, that halfway mark for me, this season just absolutely took off. And it was just so intense. Had some incredible battles, some incredible character arcs also that I was a really big fan of. So I was really pleased with this season and how it certainly resolved itself. But I can see one more. And I'm just going to say this, Stuart, because we've said this all the time. Please, Hilary Swank, please, if there's anything great outside of what you've already done that you could still accomplish in your career, please come to Cobra Kai season 6 to help round this off. You're part of the Miyagi verse also, even though we try and forget about the next Karate Kid, but she has a place here, I think, Stuart, don't you?
I 100% agree. More than anything, I just want her and Daniel to just have a scene where the two
Just a
of them talk
scene.
about their favorite memories of Miyagi, something like that. And then, you
I
know
like.
what? Give me a sparring match between the two of them. I think that'd be kind of
Ooh.
fun too.
Or end off this season with a sparring match. Like, let me give like a Rocky 3 moment where you
Yes.
got Apollo and Rocky in the ring to finally see, and they go for that first strike and it just stops. That's all I need to see. I like, and you were talking about just the idea of a scene. I think it would be really cool if like Daniel goes to visit Miyagi's grave at the cemetery and she's there already, and they wind up bumping into each other or something like that. Like, even if they don't want to get outrageous, a little scene, I think, like you said, would be perfect, honestly.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That is brilliant.
And my thing is like if they're able to bring back Daniel's ex-girlfriend from Karate Kid 3, who just completely surprised me in this season, I'm like, if you could bring her back, come on, guys. You guys got to bring back Hilary Swank. So we'll see how it turns out. But season 6, guys, will be the last. Let us know how you guys certainly feel about that. Even yeah, Daniel says I could see a Karate Kid movie. Absolutely. Yeah, give us one more. What else we got for honorable mentions? Oh, did you check out the trailer for Scream 6? We also got some
Yes.
brand new photos from Entertainment Weekly and a new poster, as you guys can see. March 10th is certainly around the corner. You know, Scream 5 was rather successful to the point to where they immediately went ahead and started making Scream 6. The turnaround time from Scream 5 to Scream 6 feels like it's a record, but it's certainly almost here. I personally, Stuart, have yet to see Scream 5 just because I feel like I
Really?
need to go. Yeah, it's just because I feel like me and the girlfriend have talked about trying to do like a Scream marathon and just begin all over, because it does feel like almost every Scream movie is kind of important to the entire franchise. And so we do want to do a little bit of a marathon and play some catch up in that regards. But I assume you've seen Scream 5. You've probably seen the trailer here for Scream 6. Let me know, what are your thoughts in regards to what you saw from the trailer?
I really like the trailer for Scream 6. I like that it looks like they're taking the whole thing into a very new direction, like with it being set in New York. And then I also like the whole bystander effect where you have like Ghostface not being afraid to kill people in public because he's just got that attitude of what are these guys going to do about it? I like the like how they kind of hint at a cult aspect to it as well. Like there may be more
Mm-hmm.
than just one killer this time. The only thing I wasn't a fan of is the line in the trailer where they're like, this one's different from all the other ones. And I only didn't like that line because we've literally heard that line in every Scream trailer, and I'm getting really annoyed of it. They are all like, they keep trying to say, oh, this time is something very different. And then when it ends, it's literally kind of, the same
It's the
stuff.
same thing.
Yeah, not in a bad way. Like it's cool that they kept it, that they can keep this pattern going and still have it be like entertaining for this many movies, but stop pretending that is something different. Like, geez. But yeah, that being said, so Scream 5, if you haven't seen it, I think you're really gonna like it. It feels like it was a Wes Craven movie. And if I
Ooh,
didn't know
okay.
going into it that Wes Craven didn't write or direct it, I would have assumed he wrote and directed it.
Oh, okay, that's certainly good to know. Yeah, I feel like just from the trailers of Scream 5, I felt like this feels different. It feels like they have reinvigorated the franchise. They got new blood, some incredible talent. Gina Ortega is a star from after Scream also. And so yeah, I do want to see the new films. And I think for me, out of Scream 6, because I'm from originally from New York, I love the idea of Ghostface being in New York. It almost feels like you're not an official like horror movie killer until you've killed people in New York. Like, was it Jason Goes to New York or Freddy in New York? One of those. I can't remember what it was, but
Jason
I feel
Goes to
like
Manhattan.
Jason Goes to Manhattan. That's what it kind of reminds me of. So you're not a true serial killer in the movie industry until you go to New York. So I'm excited to see how much fun Ghostface has in the city.
I just hope it's not as bad as Jason Goes to Manhattan because
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I definitely don't think so. And then last but not least for our honorable mentions, Mandalore season 3 is upon us. I think it was this past. I don't remember if it was this past Monday that we wind up having a trailer for the Mandalorian season 3. But I'm hyped, guys. March 1st is going to be here before we know it. And you know, I would assume, Stuart, as a fellow Star Wars fan, you have checked out this particular trailer. Also, I love this trailer. This trailer just felt so epic to me. I can truly feel the scope of this show really growing now. While I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the book of Boba Fett, you know, there are 3 very important episodes in there that kind of link seasons 2 and 3 together. And I'm really excited to see how they take that momentum and build out this world. I mean, the idea of Mando going back to or going to Mandalore to go ahead and get his honor back, seeing Mandalore, the destructive ruins of it here in this particular trailer really got me excited. So I'm very excited to go ahead and visit this world. And of course, the Grogu and you know, the father and son sort of relationship. You know, I had this conversation with Cindy that I feel like ever since I became a father, like everything gets to me now, man. Like I feel like my eyes water more, I choke up more. I just become like a big old sentimental sap when it comes to watching movies and television shows. So this stuff has a different impact on me now. But I'm really eager to see what Grogu's growth is going to be like, and just what their adventures certainly hold for them. But you had the opportunity to check out this trailer. What are some of the things that you took away from it?
I loved it. I love that we're going back to Mandalore, it seems like. And I'm really excited for his new arc. Now he's learned about the ways of other Mandalorian. He learns that there's not necessarily just one way of Mandalore. He has the responsibility of the dark saber. And then on top of that, yeah, like, you know, him being basically a father to Grogu. I also love that Grogu can kind of take care of himself now, because we see at the
Yeah.
very end of the trailer, that shot was so cool when you have Grogu coming out still in the little pod, but like holding his hand up. Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's like, man, my son's growing before my very eyes. Like he can handle himself now, sort of thing. So yeah, his teachings with Luke Skywalker definitely have come a long way. So I'm really excited for it. I mean, we get the opportunity to see Jedi in this trailer also, which hints to
Yeah.
some really great flashback sequences we certainly might get. I'm wondering if Anakin Skywalker is on the other side of that door, bro. As the, you know, it looks like somebody's lightsaber is trying to cut through one of the Jedi Temple doors, but maybe I'm wrong. And the one person that I did not see in this trailer that I'm surprised I didn't see, Bo-Katan, Katie Sackhoff. I didn't see her character in this trailer at all, and we know she's supposed to be having a pretty big role. Are you surprised that we didn't see her here?
A little bit, not super surprised, only because I feel like that would go into some spoiler territory
Spoiler
of what the
territory.
plot's going to be. So I feel like they really want to keep like the overarching plot like kind of a mystery, but they're, you know, willing to show us like kind of some of the episodic adventures that the Mandalorian's going to be going on.
Yeah, I think you probably might be right there also. So, you know, look, you can't blow your load on the first trailer. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll
Yeah.
get ourselves a little bit of a teaser, you know, leading a little bit more into season 3 here. So, again, mark your calendars March 1st. Mando and Grogu are certainly back, guys. So, let's go ahead and get ready. And that, in fact, will wrap up all of our honorable mentions today. So, Stuart, with that out of the way, are you ready to go ahead and tackle our 6 main topics, bro?
Always.
Let's do this. Guys, first and foremost, again, it is so good to be back. And I will say this, it is a rarity these days that we usually have Power Rangers kicking us off in regards to our main topics. Every once in a while, it certainly does. Jonathan Entwistle stuff has definitely gotten some recognition here on our channel. But for the most part, I feel like Power Rangers usually gets thrown to honorable mentions. But this week, guys, this week, if there's any week to certainly talk about Power Rangers, this is in fact it. Coming fresh off of a Hasbro Pulse fan stream that we wind up having this past Tuesday. Entertainment Weekly wind up leaking and releasing some photos a little bit early, probably a little bit early ahead of schedule, but regardless, it made Tuesday a fantastic day for Power Ranger fans. Not only did we get our first look into the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 30th anniversary special titled Once and Always. We also got ourselves a new sneak peek, if you will, at the Cosmic Fury suits as well. But what I definitely want to focus on immediately, Stuart, is in fact the MMPR special that we're going to be getting. Entertainment Weekly did themselves a great article. They also released a brand new behind the scenes photos, along with a behind the scenes video, which just honestly got me in my feels. And to be honest with you, Stuart, I showed the video to my girlfriend. We didn't even watch the entire video, but I was like, hey, babe, I want you to check this out. She watched it. She could not be more excited for this. And she's even not even a huge Power Ranger fan like myself, but she appreciates MMPR and it's something she grew up with. She's pumped for this. So she's almost like my gauge for like the general public, like how people that aren't as nerdy as I am, how they receive things. So she's usually my temperature gauge there. And the fact that she's pumped about it has me really excited. And I think the fans especially are going to be super stoked. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit further about this, Stuart, as we're going to dive into the this is from Entertainment Weekly as they talk about the Power Rangers Netflix special, which they also announced is going to be dropping April 19th. So again, mark your calendars. April 19th will be here certainly before you know it. And the team is coming back. Before I get into this, though, let me I gotta try and pull up some pictures. For some reason, some of the pictures that I wanted did not load the way that I was hoping that they would load. So let me get them uploaded here properly. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this article. So this is from Entertainment Weekly. It's Morphin time. Original Power Ranger stars reunite for the 30th anniversary Netflix special. I gotta say, they have all aged incredibly well. I don't even care if they're wearing makeup, Stuart. I think they've aged incredibly well for 28 years.
Like you kind of pointed out in one of our group chats, like Rocky himself, like not only has he aged well, but wow, he's gotten himself ripped. And even though we just saw him like in the 25th anniversary special, I don't remember him looking that ripped in that.
I don't remember him looking that big either. This man is swole. I was really surprised. I mean, it feels like homeboy's barely fitting into his shirt. And I made the joke because we always joke about the idea. I remember when Steve first came on as Rocky, he was just like Jason Light. They literally just kept putting this man in Jason's clothes, and he just couldn't fill them out quite like Austin St. John. This is the time they should be trying to put him into Austin St. John's clothes because this man is ripped. Steve Cardenas definitely got swole for this role, but everybody's super excited. It says, once a Ranger, always a Ranger. 3 decades after becoming an afternoon phenomenon, members of the original MMPR cast are reuniting for a scripted Netflix special celebrating the enduring legacy of Chaim Saban's creation. Walter Jones says, our Ranger family runs deep, is what Walter Jones tells EW of getting to play Zach 30 years later. It also mentions that they have Catherine Sutherland returning, David Yost, as well as Steve Cardenas, Karen Ashley, and Johnny Young Bosch, who played Aisha and Adam. They're pretty much all coming back. And it says EW has an exclusive first look video and photos on set. So I'll go ahead and pull up some of these photos for you guys as we talk about them, because not everybody's aware that MMPR is getting a Netflix special. So I wanted to go ahead and bring these up and really talk to them as well. It says, for David Yost, the longest running original Ranger who left the series in 96 after 4 seasons and more than 200 episodes, the special is a reunion with all of the returning cast. But he says suiting up with Jones again is particularly special. He says, we went through the audition process together and launched the Power Rangers franchise. He says, he calls the reunion amazing. It was such a surreal experience to be on set of the Power Rangers again after 28 years. And they've got themselves a great photo of the two of them together. It's almost like lifelong buddies, man, get an opportunity to experience something like this, something I don't think they ever probably imagined they'd be on set to have to do again. And, when you look at it, while we, clearly, Steve and Catherine eventually came later. This is as OG as it gets, right, Stuart?
Yeah. I really like it being kind of a mixture of the two casts from MMPR, but this especially is what really gets me excited to see these two interacting again for the first time in like years, and just seeing them both in like the Ranger outfits for the first time in years, because we haven't really seen them in any crossovers or anything ever since they both left the show. And I think Zach left season 2, Billy left during Zeo. Haven't seen either of them since then, so this is just amazing to me.
Yeah, this was an incredible picture, because you're absolutely right. I mean, the idea of seeing them in their suits together just has so much more impact. Clearly them having civilian fights and them being in civilian forms, it's great to certainly see them, but there is something just super impactful about the idea of seeing them in their suits. It just kind of all brings it home for me. It also says, as described by the team behind the special, the new adventure sees the Rangers come face to face with a familiar threat from the past. In the midst of a global crisis, they are called once again to be the heroes the world needs. Inspired by the legendary mantra from the franchise, once a Ranger, always a Ranger. Once a Ranger reminds everyone, when you become a Ranger, you're always part of the Ranger family and always welcome. And we even get to see the actual official modern logo for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and for the once and always Netflix special. I love the logo. The new logo really pops to me. I think they did a really great job of modernizing it up, and the once and always fits pretty well for me. So I really like the new logo design they have there.
Like, I'm both surprised and happy that they went with the old school logo instead of going with kind of the more recent like Power Rangers
Oh,
logo that they've been
yeah.
using for Hasbro.
Yeah.
Really happy to see them go back to this one for the anniversary special.
Yeah, it's super iconic. I mean, even casual fans that don't know Power Rangers know certainly this logo. So definitely stick with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what they say?
Mhm.
It also says the special also features Barbara Goodson, the voice of Rita Repulsa. As yes, Rita Repulsa will in fact be in this. I think they mentioned a robot, a Robo Rita, I believe is how they broke it down. Richard Horvitz will in fact be voicing Alpha 5. I think he's going to have it's going to be Alpha. I don't know if it's going to be an Alpha 5. It might be another number, but who knows? And a new addition, Charlie Kirsch as Min, the daughter of the original Yellow Ranger. That played Tui Trang played Trini. There is no word if other original cast members are involved or if the special will tribute original Green Ranger Tommy actor Jason David Frank. I certainly got to imagine that they certainly will, though, but we'll definitely have to see. But yeah, guys, get ready. April 19th is the big day. If anything, this is going to be promoted like all get out over the next couple of months. And so it's funny, we sometimes I think we get on Netflix's case sometimes for being a little bit late to the party when it comes to releasing trailers and first looks. But we're what, like 2 months ahead of schedule, 2-3 months ahead of schedule.
Mhm.
Well, I guess like 3.5 months ahead of schedule. It's not a full trailer, but they did give us a behind the scenes video, which I love behind the scenes videos almost even more than trailers at times. So the fact that they had that forward thinking of, hey, let's kind of film, I don't want to say like a little what's the word I'm looking for? like a special feature or anything like that, but I'm a sucker for special features when it comes to specials and shows that I certainly watch. So I really love the behind the scenes video. What did you think of it though?
I absolutely loved it, mostly because it gives you it kind of helps, unless of course the actors are actually being paid to pretend like they're having a good time. To me, the behind the scenes videos kind of show that the actors are there because they want to be there and that they're having a good time, which is something that got me really excited about this, is knowing that they're not just there to collect a paycheck. They're all there because they want to be there. Yeah. I love that they went with the behind the scenes video instead of like a trailer.
Yeah, I am too, man. I am too. I think one of the things that I certainly took away also, like you, is their excitement level. I feel like hearing people like Johnny, Catherine, Walter, even Steve talk about how special this is going to be, how excited they are, and really excited for us fans to certainly check it out. I think there's a lot of great things that are going to be happening with this because I do think it takes I think it takes more than just money to bring the Rangers back. I think there's got to be something concrete of a script that excites them to want to come back anyway. And so, especially with somebody like David Yost, I'm sure they probably had to jump through hoops to get this man to certainly return. But to me, it always solidifies the idea that the script has probably got to be really great to get somebody like a Walter and David Yost to even want to come back. And just hearing them talk about it, even like a quick moment of seeing Catherine Sutherland talk about it, almost looked like she was about to cry for a moment. Like she was just so excited to be back with everybody. So I'm really excited for this, man. I feel like we're totally getting spoiled for the 30th anniversary this year.
I really love this theory. What if Scrozzle builds Robo Rita? Something that would be kind of cool is if they did bring in Scrozzle into this special. I would love to see like an interaction between him and Alpha.
There's a part of me that wants to see I want to see the Machine Empire back. Like, I wonder if the Machine Empire is what builds Robo Rita. I mean, they talk about a familiar threat. That familiar threat could, in fact, be Rita. Who certainly knows? But yeah, who knows? Maybe bring Scrozzle in. Maybe he's teamed up with the Machine Empire.
Oh
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe they brought him into their fold or something. Who knows? But the possibilities are endless, man. I'm really excited to see what they pull off here.
They are. And I also like kind of wonder with the whole Robo Rita thing, because that seems like something that Rita herself would not be happy with if she was brought back as a robot, because, she's she's like, a sorcerer. So I feel like sorcery and science would be like things that like completely like, collide against each other. So I'm
Yeah,
wondering
she'd
if
be
that's
pissed.
like going to be like part of her thing, is that she hates like being a robot or something like that.
Yeah, maybe we'll definitely hear Rita complaining about something for sure.
And then
Uh,
this one, I gotta say,
Blossom.
Adam looks awesome with the goatee in that
Yeah,
special, and like all the photos that we see.
yeah, he cleans up nicely, man. He cleans up nicely, and that is in fact an SPA badge that he's wearing. I think you can see it very closely in the behind the scenes video. People were speculating whether it said SPD, SPA. It definitely says SPA on his badge. What that stands for, who knows?
Space Patrol
Space
Alpha.
Patrol Alpha, Space Patrol Academy. I've seen a lot of things kind of floated around. So it seems as though Adam and Aisha very much are big participants in the SPA. What their status is, are they, commanders? Who certainly knows? But all will definitely be revealed here relatively soon, beginning April 1st. So yeah, man, mark your calendars, guys. If anything, there's probably a big question as to, so they were able to get some OGs back, but not everybody, Stuart. We unfortunately know about the passing of JDF. But over the past couple of months, good old Amy Jo Johnson has been confusing the fans a little bit in regards to some things that's been going on. I feel like she's been pretty open about her not returning. And it seems as though this week also she's got more to certainly say to the fans to kind of explain. This comes to us from people.com. Says Amy Jo Johnson on why she won't appear in the Power Ranger reunion, even though she never said no. So it says, yeah, Once and Always premieres April 19th on Netflix. Amy Jo is setting the record straight on why she won't be appearing in the Netflix upcoming special. She said in a tweet, "For the record, I never said no. I just didn't say yes to what was offered. But other fun stuff is in store. Looking forward to watching my friends kick ass. Hashtag Power Rangers 30. And that is, in fact, her tweet up there. What do you make of it, Stuart?
I unless she has like a cameo in it of some sort, I really hate this tweet so much.
I
I
hate this tweet
it's
too.
it's one of those you just shouldn't say anything then if you don't have anything like good to say. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I really, I really don't like it. And unless she ends up having a cameo in it, like, even if it's just her over a Skype call, like totally fine with that. And then I'll be like, okay, maybe that's why she did the tweet, because she wanted to like tease something and also at the same time not get everyone's hopes up. But I don't know, just that whole I didn't say no, I just didn't say yes. I really hate that like kind of mindset sometimes.
Yeah, I just feel like that's just a childish response. Like, I feel like that's something like a kid would say if he got caught doing something. Well, I didn't quite do that, but I did do this. Like it's the same thing, kid. Like it's the same thing.
Well, I didn't murder that guy. I just took his life. So, I should be on
Yeah.
trial for theft, if anything.
I mean, it's just so odd to me. But she says things like, but other fun stuff is in store. Like, what does that mean? This is such a cryptic message for her. There's a part of me that just thinks that there's a big surprise under, like, I wonder if she's just blowing smoke up our ass and there really is just a big surprise and she comes out of nowhere and she's actually really in this special and she's just really trying to attack, like not attack, but she's really trying to get under the skin of some like toxic fans just so that people can bitch and complain about her, and then she's actually in it and be like, haha, see what you guys get. Like, so I'm just trying to figure out what she's getting at here. And I'm kind of curious what the offer was. Like, I do wonder, was it financial? Did they want to pay her such little time for, pay her so little money for a lot of her time? Is that the offer she, said no to? Did she say yes for low pay for a very minuscule amount of time on screen? I really don't know what it is. Like, it's just hard for me to, well, I want to say it's hard for me to imagine that they would lowball Amy Jo Johnson in regards to coming back. Because I think for her, if there's anybody that should get paid for coming back, for me, I believe it's Amy Jo Johnson, just based off of her experience in acting, her directorial work, her work in music, right? Like, I feel like Amy Jo Johnson has a bigger name. So if there's anybody that should be paid to come back, it's probably her and David Yost, if you ask me personally. So I don't know if they just lowballed her or if it's even money as the situation. I have no idea. But talk about a cryptic ass message, Stuart. I'm not a fan.
Yeah. And if they offered her money that she, wasn't enough for her time, totally understandable if she didn't want to come back for that. It's just, yeah, that, you still said no is the thing. Even if it was like a really bad deal that they offered you and you didn't want to take it, guess what? That's still saying no.
Saying no. Yeah, still saying no. Doomsday says this tweet is so misleading. I was so confused by reading this. Yeah, man, my head hurts also.
Yeah.
But this is me keeping my fingers crossed and really hoping that there is some surprises here for us also. Lauren says Amy probably read the script.
Maybe that's it. Maybe she was like all down for it, but like she just really hated the script and she's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely could be it. There's a part of me that, like I said, I'm hoping that the script is good. If you're able to get David Yost back after all the shit that he's been through in his time in Power Rangers, for him to get up and actually show up, there's a part of me that's hoping that the script is relatively good, but we'll have to see. Tony Robinson says, to be honest, I think Amy is just done with Power Rangers. What if she does like a song for the show? Like, I wonder if maybe she maybe recorded a song that might get played during this as like a farewell or whatever the case may be. I am kind of curious to see if she will have some sort of some impact. Attila says, what if Amy Jo Johnson is playing an Andrew Garfield? I mean,
I mean,
she isn't She is an actor, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
anybody's gonna lie to us like the best of them, it's definitely Amy Jo Johnson is certainly capable. And that's why I say, like, maybe this is all just gaslighting, you know, for us to bitch about her and to complain about her, and then she actually shows up, and yeah, we feel like a
And
bunch of
then we all
idiots.
feel dumb.
We all feel dumb as hell.
Yeah.
So,
And,
so
and
we'll
let me say
see.
that, like, if that's what she's doing, because like, let's say she has like a very small cameo, it makes sense that you wouldn't want to hype that up. Otherwise, that's something that would really piss off fans. It's like, oh, you got us so hyped, but you're only in there for like a couple seconds. But I think this is the perfect tweet if that's all she's going to be doing in the special. Like, if she's in there, but she's like not, she doesn't have a big role. She's like there for like one scene. I think that's the type of tweet you would want to have.
You might be onto something there too, and I really hope that she pulled this off and is actually part of this special in some way. But we'll definitely have to see how it turns out. I mean, look, even watching the behind the scenes video, Stuart, it's got me asking the question like, is Jason David Frank in this fucking thing? I mean, you know, they show us in the behind the scenes footage of them fighting and stuff, getting the opportunity to see let me see. Do I have pictures of it? Let me see if this will pop up for me or not. Yes, here we go. They showed footage of the entire team, new footage. It looks like the action director and his crew filming what looks to be new footage of the team itself as a whole, fighting some putties, posing and stuff. You know, I'm kind of curious as to whether or not this is a flashback um, in more modern day form, um, or if this is present day type of stuff here. You know, I'm wondering, are they going to take off the helmets? Are people going to be revealed? Is JDF truly under that helmet? You know, do they have other did somebody step up to, you know, is this Tommy's son? Is Adam turned into the Green Ranger now? Has he stepped up? Who certainly knows? But I see a bunch of theories certainly out there. Do you have any, Stuart? Do you think this is a modern day shot of the team? And if so, will we see them take their helmets off?
Um, I don't think we'll see all of them take their helmets off. I do think it is like going to be canonically Tommy underneath there. I just think he's going to show up the same way the MMPR Rangers showed up in the Beast Morphers Dino like crossover. So I think he's just going to be there. We're going to probably hear some stock audio from Jason David Frank or someone else like kind of dubbing over him, but like I feel like all we're going to kind of hear from him is Kia.
Yeah, the classic Tommy voice. Yeah, I don't know, man. I have no idea. I'm sure that this certainly will be a tribute to JDF and Tui Trang, as it certainly should be. Whether or not we have any other surprises outside of that, who certainly knows? But I just thought it was a really fascinating shot that they highlighted that during the behind the scenes video. You know, Doomsday says, I wonder if JDF managed to film his stuff for once and always before he passed away. You know, I really don't know. I don't know if that's him under there, or again, maybe this is like the final shot of the show, you know, like, hey, the team is together and we just see them in action and in their suits and just have no idea who's actually under some of these helmets. So it could leave us in suspense like that as well. Oh, Sarab, he says off topic, but could the modern Green Ranger be Matthew from the comics? That's an interesting one, Sarab. That would be rather interesting to see if he's been promoted like that and part of this team. So we'll see. But yeah, guys, let us know what you guys think of the return of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers after 28 years to celebrate the 30th anniversary. April 19th, it will in fact be dropping on Netflix as a one-off. Somebody asked, hey, Adam, what's up, Johnny? Do you think Once and Always will end on a cliffhanger or no? I don't think so, Stuart. Do you think so?
I really hope not, because I feel like this should just be kind of a one-off special, especially for people that never watched any of the other Power Ranger seasons after the original. I feel like this should be like kind of a season or this should be a special that goes for everyone and not just like the fans that have been keeping up with the show for so long.
I wouldn't mind if like something is teased briefly, not like the final shot. Like I would like this to wrap up and definitely conclude the MMPR arc. But I wouldn't mind if there is a scene in this episode where something escapes or something gets away. Um, and then it's not really talked about for the remainder of the episode, but maybe pops up in like a Cosmic Fury episode or something like that. I think that might be kind of cool. Because I do think, look, I think David Yost is supposed to be in an episode of Cosmic Fury also.
That's what I heard.
So I am hoping that there is at least something that's very connective tissue from this into Cosmic Fury, but nothing super big. But by the end of the special itself, our main characters have wrapped up their story. So I'm not hoping for a huge cliffhanger.
How about this for a cliffhanger? Billy off screen mentions that he's working on a new project, and we don't know what that project is until the very end, where we see the Megazord from Q Ranger.
Oh, and he's the one that puts together the new powers and stuff?
Yeah, maybe not the full powers, but at least the Zords.
That'd be pretty badass, bro. That would be pretty badass. Leave it up to Billy to come up with all the cool stuff for Power Rangers, man. Who needs I was gonna say Master God damn it. What's their name, Stuart, from Cosmic Fury? The Morphin Masters.
Oh, Morphin Masters, yeah.
Yeah, who needs the Morphin Masters when you got Billy?
Yeah.
Should we talk about the Cosmic Fury suits?
Yeah, I'd be down.
Let me
very curious to hear your thoughts on them.
Let me pull up some photos that I had from this, because I didn't load the photos up because I wasn't quite sure. Cosmic Fury, ladies and gentlemen, boom. Entertainment Weekly also went ahead and revealed the entire squad here. I think this is the Entertainment Weekly exclusive photo that they went ahead and released, showing us that Zato, the Red Ranger from Dino Fury, has now turned into, as one would put it on Twitter, Champagne Poppy Ranger as of right now, with that champagne flavor. And getting the promotion here is, in fact, Amelia, as she becomes the first full-time series female Red Ranger. We've had female Red Rangers before, but for an entire season, never for an entire season. And that's what Amelia here, played by Hunter Dino, will in fact be taking up the mantle. As apparently people have been saying, they've been teasing it at the end of Dino Fury. I'm almost done with Dino Fury, by the way. Almost done with Dino Fury. Yeah, almost done there. But look, I will say this, because we did get glimpses of the costumes in person. Got the opportunity to see them live talking about their suits. Listen, I need to see more, Stuart, before I'm fully in love with these suits. I like the suits. I don't think they're horrible or trash by any means. I like the suits. But I do want to see how they look in movement on screen, how dynamic they move when they start actually getting into action. Like when I see them originally just in this form, the body armor, kind of like the foam body armor, kind of throws off, because it's like, those aren't your pecs, bro. Those aren't your those aren't your real muscles. So it does look a little bit funny, because sometimes I feel like there's gaps in the armor. Like you can see Kai Moya, like his shoulder and stuff, the gap between it's almost like they can't even fully fill out the foam armor chest plate that they're certainly wearing. And to me, it kind of throws it off a little bit. And I do wish there's a little bit more design, whether that be on the pants, on the chest. It just feels like a big voided area at times. And I think that's why when it comes to like the female suits, I appreciate sort of how Amelia's got the silver that comes down from her chest to her belt, and then from her belt down to her thigh. Like, I think that's such a much better look compared to the fellas that just have from the chest to the belt sort of thing. So I do wish that there was more designs on the suit itself, but I think they look fine. I can't really crap on them too much. I love the shoulder pads. I like the addition of the gold and silver belts and gauntlets and boots. I think the cape is pretty badass for Zato, and the weapons look incredible to me. Like Javi's axe. It reminds me of Zach's axe guitar. And she, Izzy's got the daggers. It looks like Amelia's got herself a hammer. I think that's pretty badass weapon also. So I think there's definitely some positive things in here, but I can understand people's displeasure with the costume, but I'm just not going to give my um, full on approval of the costumes until I see them in action yet and give my full opinion and judgment on it. But what about you, Stuart? How are you feeling about these?
So looking at them as they are, I actually saw a comment that actually kind of describes one thing oh, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Yeah, so I think like the
Yeah.
graphics look better than the suit. So like the way
Uh-huh.
that they're illustrated looks awesome. The way we see them on camera though, not so much. Now, I'm trying to be as fair as I can because this isn't like how it's meant to be seen. You know, we're not seeing it through the lens of like the cameras that they're going to be using in Cosmic Fury. We haven't really seen them in action yet, but I feel like those suits just feel so incomplete, not just because the logo's missing, but just in general, these suits feel like the type of suits that a lot of big blockbuster Hollywood movies use as like kind of as like kind of a reference, you know what I mean? Like the type where
Uh-huh.
you'll have it like be shot, but really it's just there so that someone can in post
Like a
production add a lot
stand-in.
more. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
can like add
Uh-huh.
a lot more to the suit in post production. But given the budget of the show, I don't think that's something that we're going to be seeing a lot of. So yeah, for me at the moment, I'm not too big of a fan, and it's really like the coloring that and I don't mean like
Mhm.
the color scheme that they got for it. I mean, just something about it feels so faded compared to like the, you know, usually shiny like outfits that you get when it comes to Power Rangers. These kind of feel a lot like dimmer than those, if that makes sense. But like that all being said, again, I do want to wait until we get like a trailer to have like a full opinion on those. But yeah, as of now, the suits do seem a little bit underwhelming compared to what I was what I was hoping for. One thing I do really like though with the suits, I really like Javi's right arm. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
kind of curious if that's just like extra armor or if like does he lose his arm at the beginning of the season and now has like a robot replacement?
Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely one of the theories I've been seeing around. Somebody said maybe he broke his arm, and this is until he is used until he's kind of recovered, almost like a robotic cast, if you will. I jumped on the band ship of like, yeah, homeboy's losing his arm. This is not because you even see him even when he's in his civilian clothes, he's rocking this arm also, which to me just is like, wait a minute, anybody can figure out that this dude's a Power Ranger, you know, like, oh, he's walking around with that same arm as the Black Ranger. But you know, so I do wonder if he loses his arm, which would be just devastating for somebody that plays guitars and instruments. I mean, talk about a hell of a character arc for sure. But I definitely understand what you mean. Like when I look at the concept art, I'm like, oh, those look pretty badass, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this. These aren't guys. These aren't the same costumes. Like you're, you're selling me on some goods, and this is not what I ordered, guys. Yeah, this is like you see the picture on the front of your Halloween costume, and you order it from China, and it finally comes into the mail, and you put it on, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
This is what that's what it almost looks like. So I definitely there is like an incompleteness. It feels like to it, and I think that's why I said I kind of wish that there were more details on the suit itself. But you're right, it just like it's not shiny, it doesn't really pop. There's a blandness about it. Like I don't even know if the champagne poppy color for Zeta was the right way to go. Maybe a different color scheme would have worked better for him to really balance out the color schemes. I really don't know, but I understand the underwhelmingness of it. I don't mind them, but again, I do want to see what they look like once we actually see them in full-fledged action and on camera. But I get it. I definitely get the underwhelmness that people have for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, we if anything, we might just continue to get teased about Cosmic Fury for a while, but I'm not expecting more details for Cosmic Fury at least until after Once and Always drops in April. I think that's going to be their big promotional push as of right now. And then once that wraps up, then you can expect more focus on Cosmic Fury. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts on all that in the comment section box below. And if there's anything that we particularly missed that you guys want to further talk about, please let us know your thoughts in the comments. And we'll certainly join you guys in there after the show is over. All right. And with that out of the way, Stuart, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. As we dive into some movie news for you guys, we step away from Power Rangers and get back into the world of movies. And I love music, Stuart. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a big fan of music. Had the opportunity to check out Bohemian Rhapsody, which was a great biopic, I think, for the group Queen. My girlfriend absolutely loves Queen. Great group, amazing catalog of music. I mean, I watched Bohemian Rhapsody, and I thought I knew Queen, and then I heard some songs, and I'm like, that's them too. Like, goddamn! Like, they had so many hit songs. It's just unbelievable. Great biopic there. Me and the girlfriend were also just recently watching Elvis, played by Austin Butler. That's been an enjoyable one so far. We're set to go ahead and wrap that up here pretty soon. So I love me a good biopic. And so it seems as though we've got another one certainly headed our way, Stuart, and it is for the king of pop himself. Michael Jackson, baby, is finally getting himself a biopic. Let's go ahead and dive into this. This actually comes to us from comingsoon.net that says Antoine Fuqua to direct a Michael Jackson biopic. It says Lion Gates announced on Wednesday that Antoine Fuqua will direct the upcoming highly anticipated Michael Jackson biopic, Michael. Fuqua, who is best known for directing iconic films like Training Day, The Equalizer, and 2022's Emancipation, will act as the director on the film, which is set to be produced by Academy Award winner Graham King. The film's screenplay will be written by three-time Oscar nominee John Logan, who also did Gladiator, with both Logan and King having worked together on Martin Scorsese's The Aviator. It says, according to the announcement, Michael will give audiences a never-before-told and in-depth portrayal of the complicated man who became the king of pop. The film will explore all aspects of Michael's life, including his most iconic performances that led him to become the greatest entertainer of all time. Currently, no other information on the film is available. This is what Antoine Fuqua said in his statement. He says, the first films of my career were music videos, and I still feel that combining film and music are a deep part of who I am. For me, there's no artist with the power, the charisma, and the sheer musical genius of Michael Jackson. I was influenced to make music videos by watching his work, the first Black artist to play in heavy rotation on MTV. His music and those images are part of my world view, and the chance to tell his story on the screen alongside his music was irresistible. So yeah, this gentleman, Antoine Fuqua, will in fact be directing Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic here, Stuart. I will start with you first. One, because I'm fascinated to know what your relationship is with Michael Jackson music. Is this something that you ever found yourself growing up on or listening to as a kid at all? And also your thoughts on the idea of him getting a biopic. And do you think Antoine Fuqua is a good fit? What's your thoughts?
So I didn't really grow up too much on Michael Jackson's music. Except for like kind of the obvious like big hits. In fact, like I think one of my favorite memories was like when I would go. So there was like this kind of cow skating area like over where I used to live, and when we'd go there, the very like right before they closed, they would always play Thriller. So that'd be kind of like the last like song that would kind of indicate that they were closing. But it was like such a fun song to skate and dance to and everything. But other than that, I don't really have too much like nostalgia for Michael Jackson or anything like that. But that being said, I did love his soundtrack for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I think I know there's still some debate on whether or not he actually did the soundtrack for it, but I think at this point there's enough like I think enough people who have actually worked on the game have said that he's worked on the music. So even
Oh,
if he
wow.
refuses to be, even if he refused to be credit for it, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say he actually did. But that's kind of where like my like nostalgia for him goes. But yeah, I would very much so be interested in seeing like a biopic of this guy because you know I keep hearing many different like stories about what he was like as a person. Some not good at all, and then some like you know kind of interesting. So I would be kind of interested to see like the perspective from someone who's actually like, you know, studied his life and would probably have like a better idea about who he is as a person more than, you know, the average like the average reporter that claims they know everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I always wonder anytime that they announce biopics, just, how truthful will they certainly get, because, each estate of these people, I'm sure they always want them to certainly be painted in a certain positive light, but I do always wonder if they'll shine things also on the difficulties and the struggles that he certainly had to deal with, or found in his own personal life as well, in regards to finding that good balance. Can you find a good balance of showcasing both sides of a person, and why that amounted to who they eventually became and very well known as. I do want to bring this up. Red is not a flavor says everybody knows the best MJ biopic was the TV movie Jackson's An American Dream. I can't even recall how many times I've seen this damn biopic of seeing just the upbringing of Michael Jackson in that household, especially when it comes to the Jackson 5 and all the way up to him becoming his own solo artist, and just seeing the complications of his life and the abuse that he certainly had to take from his dad and things like that. It's just a very strict household, and so a lot of memories from the Jackson and American Dream biopic, and it was a great one if you ask me. But look, I'm really excited for this. I'm actually really pumped for it. I've always been a big Michael Jackson fan in regards to his music. I don't know if there's ever been anybody quite like him since his time. I mean, you want to talk about just concerts where women and girls and even men would just like faint over this dude, just crying and if you ever see some videos of Michael Jackson's live shows and his performances, these people are I've never seen people so emotional over one man before. The way that he had everybody just in the palm of his hands. I don't know if there's ever been a greater performer since Michael Jackson, to be perfectly honest with you. Look, Beyonce is a worldwide and international star. Eminem is up there also. But I just don't know if anybody could ever fill this man's shoes. I still go back and listen to his music on rotation sometimes. Sometimes I'll find myself in just a Michael Jackson binge, going from his Off the Wall album all the way to even the last one that I personally even cared for, which was Invincible, which had a couple of great tracks here and there, sort of thing. But this man's legendary work will always far exceed his time here for sure. And I think the fact that he's had so much music that has lasted over so many decades that people still listen to today, I think is just super impactful and telling of just the impact that he had on just the music industry and the world in general. So, regardless of any of the drama that he certainly had in his own life, I've heard, I like you, Stuart, right? I've heard plenty of stories, plenty of negative stories. But on one side, I've also seen really weird videos of Michael Jackson, like trying to talk to women and like being flirtatious. And it's the most cringiest thing I've ever seen in my life. But it's like, it's okay. So he does love him some women. You know what I'm saying? It's just he's just had an interesting life, to say the least. And I think a biopic is a really great way for us to maybe better understand him and maybe some of the mindset that he certainly had with how he certainly approached life and stuff. And so for me, I'm really eager for this. I think Antoine Fuqua is a really great person for this, especially considering he's worked in the music video industry before. It would be pretty cool to kind of see how he adds a music video flair to maybe some of his directorial work for somebody as iconic as Michael Jackson. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. Marcelino says, I'm mixed on Michael Jackson. I love his music. Black and White was my favorite, but as a person, he was problematic and committed some actions that make nearly impossible to forgive. But I might watch it. I don't know if he's ever been found guilty of anything in regards to the allegations. I know he's had a lot of courts and trials and stuff. I don't know if anything's ever concretely come out. But again, that's just me as making assumptions. I don't know fully about all of that stuff in regards to the drama, in regards to his life. But yeah, man, it'll be interesting to kind of see what Antoine Fuqua's perspective is going to be on Michael's life, and just how much of the onion they really peel back in regards to getting into this mindset. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I'm definitely like curious about it for sure. Like, even though I'm not like as big of a fan of his music, just because I never really listened to a lot of it. It is just I am very curious just because of like the huge impact that he's had on culture and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is funny because I remember hearing a recent discussion some people were having with Chris Brown. I heard somebody floating out the idea like Chris Brown saying like, "Oh yeah, you're better than Michael Jackson." And listen, Chris Brown's done some fucked up shit in his life, and I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not trying to cover for this man, but I've always really been a big fan of Chris Brown's music. And even though I've been a big fan of Chris Brown's music, I've never been able to see him as like on the same level as Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is just truly a tier, certainly above his own in regards to just being a musical genius, an incredible performer. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. But we'll see how this goes, guys. Let us know your thoughts. Antoine Fuqua set to go ahead and make a Michael Jackson biopic. Are you excited for it? Is it something you're not really interested in? Go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. Let's see here.
I will
Oh,
be
yeah.
right back. Just give
Yeah,
me
go right
1
ahead.
minute. Cool,
Go right ahead. Yeah, Byron says Chris said it himself. He's no MJ. Yeah, which I appreciate. I appreciate him being honest and really debunking that speculation that people were having out there. It's really, I think, the idea of just a current generation not being familiar with the music of the past generation, and I think if they understood Michael Jackson's history or knew the impact that he had, that's not really a conversation I think would be brought up. So I appreciate Chris just being honest in regards to that. I don't know if there's anybody going to be the next MJ, but I always thought if there wasn't going to be certainly anybody in regards to pop music, it probably was going to be Chris Brown. But it's just MJ's just untouchable, man, just untouchable. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here. We're gonna go ahead and change course from the Power Rangers side of things, the movie side of things, and now we're gonna get into some DC and Marvel talk for you guys. But we will in fact start off with DC, as a lot of us listen are very highly anticipating the reveal of the upcoming DCU film slate that James Gunn, along with Peter Safran, have been building towards. They have already presented it to David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, and it's just a matter of time. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if this upcoming week, we start getting information from James Gunn in regards to what their slate is going to look like. He said we were learn it in the first month of this year. We're almost towards the end of January, so there is a part of me that thinks that maybe this is the upcoming week that we find out a little bit more. In the meantime, though, good old Jason Momoa is certainly in the news here, as he's had the opportunity to sit down with James Gunn along with Peter Safran, had a meeting of the minds with them, and Jason Momoa has walked away a very, very happy man. He absolutely loved the meeting he had with James Gunn, seems super stoked for the future of the DCU, especially his involvement, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into this, as Jason Momoa does address some rumors, as best as he possibly can, at least, in regards to whether or not he's returning as Aquaman. Are you going to be Lobo, as some people are kind of speculating also? Let's dive into this. This is from Variety.com. Says that Jason Momoa on DC meeting with James Gunn, "I'll always be Aquaman and might play other characters too," is the title of this. It says, "I'll always be Aquaman," Jason Momoa proclaimed at the Variety Studio presented by Audible. Momoa is at the Park City Festival as the narrator of the new documentary Deep Rising, which investigates organizations that are extracting metals from the deep sea floor. Momoa recently met with new DC studio heads James Gunn and Peter Safran to talk about his future in the DC universe, in which he's played Aquaman in several movies. He says It's very, very wonderful, Momoa said of the meeting. I'm in the house of Warner Brothers and they are liking a lot of stuff I'm doing. We got a lot of good things coming. So, first off, this just immediately tells me that Jason Momoa and Warner Brothers are very much on very good terms, almost to the point where it's like they'll probably keep them in family for any upcoming projects, not necessarily DCU, but maybe any other films that they certainly do in the future. The fact that they have such a close knit relationship right now, it feels very much like Jason Momoa's got himself some security in regards to maybe having a place in a home when it comes to Warner Brothers. It says one thing coming is Momoa's second standalone Aquaman movie. There are also rumors that Momoa will be playing a different character, Lobo, in the new DC universe under Gunn and Safran. Momoa would not confirm such rumors, but he did say there might be other characters coming. So he says, this is what he says. He says, the beautiful thing about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is me and my partner wrote the first treatment for it, and it was about a 55-page treatment. And a lot of it has to deal with me talking to the UN about what's happening with the melting ice caps. There's no far off galaxy coming to destroy us or aliens from another place. It's us ruining our planet. We need to get it together and save our home. Momoa concluded, I'll always be Aquaman. Ain't no one coming in. He says, ain't no one coming in there and taking shit. There might be some other characters too. I can play other things too. I could be funny and savage and charming. So he says the climate change themes inherent in the Aquaman movies tie directly to Momoa's Sundance documentary, Deep Rising. It seems as though he's pretty open into doing more environmental films. I didn't know Jason Momoa was such an advocate. Well, I can't say I didn't know he was such an advocate because I have seen Jason Momoa stand up for quite a few things. Especially in his homeland. I think I saw him fighting against them trying to build like a telescope or something like that on top of one of the mountains. Apparently they were going to have to like destroy the whole area before they could start building. I think it was a telescope they were trying to build out there, but whatever they were building, Jason Momoa and his people certainly were not having it. So I know Jason very much is a big proponent of the environment and things like that. So it seems as though that's definitely going to be a lot of his focus, and he's taking some of that focus and using it to perfection. It's one of those things where he clearly knows his platform and the power that his platform gives him. And as an actor, if he can advocate and utilize somebody like an Aquaman that has such a deep connection to the ocean and use it as a message to save our oceans and save our planet, certainly why not? But I am interested in this comment here, Stuart, when he says, I'll always be Aquaman. Ain't no one coming in here and taking shit. There might be some other characters too. I can play other things too. I could be funny, savage, and charming. So, do you think he's going to be doing double duty, Stuart, here for the DCU or what?
I don't think so, and I really hope not, because I think I've mentioned this before when we originally were talking about our like kind of predictions on like how James Gunn may move forward with the DC universe. Originally, I was like under the assumption that it wasn't going to be like a full on reboot, that they were just going to be kind of changing some aspects of it, but for the most part, they were just going to be continuing that universe. But after like the announcement of Henry Cavill no longer being Superman, given the huge fan base that Henry Cavill has, it would be really, really weird if James Gunn decided that that was just one aspect of the DCU he wanted to change, but he didn't want to change Jason Momoa as Aquaman. To me, that just wouldn't make sense, especially because we have a younger Superman coming up. So it would be kind of weird to have like a Superman in their 20s, but then you have Aquaman, who's like this more experienced superhero, like in his 40s, 50s. I'm not sure how old Jason Momoa is. But that all being said, I don't think he's going to be doing double duty, but I do think the rumors about him being Lobo are really strong at the moment, mostly because neither him or James Gunn have debunked it yet. And you know how they both are when it comes to debunking rumors and things like that. So I think that is probably where we're going to see him in the future of the DC universe.
I when he says when he says the line here of let me pull up his thing where he says I can be funny and savage and charming. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, oh, that sounds just like Lobo.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe not charming. He is a douchebag, but I mean, he definitely is funny and savage. So I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds like a Lobo reference to me.
But
Um,
in
I'm
Lobo's own mind, he's very charming.
I guess that's true too. Yes, very much so. Very much so. Look, I do think there's a world where he can still play both roles. I pulled up the example of Gemma Chan, but from Marvel, I think she played in one of the Kree warriors in Captain Marvel, and then she was actually the main lead in the Eternals. It certainly might be different in the sense that, look, the Kree warriors nowhere near as popular as Aquaman. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that character might have even been killed off, or it's just a character that I don't expect us to see ever again anyway. You know what I mean? Whereas this one, it's like, are you really going to be playing double duty in the sense of Aquaman and Lobo? If that's the case, like, I just feel like I'd be able to tell immediately, like, oh, he's playing the same dude. It's just so weird to see on screen. But maybe it's maybe it's the same situation of he's just pulling a Henry Cavill here, saying, "I still got the cape in my closet. I'm Superman as long as you guys will have me." And then, he's no longer Superman. Like, maybe this is the case of once Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom drops, that's the last we're gonna see of this
Mhm.
dude, and he's officially just gonna be Lobo from here on out. Datilla says Roman Reigns should play Lobo. That'd be hilarious. Acknowledge him, Datilla. But yeah, so I think maybe that might be the case here. I can't see him becoming somebody else. Whether or not he does double duty, that I'm not too sure of. But it would make sense, right? In the sense, like you said, if you're not bringing back Henry Cavill, and you are changing things up, maybe you should change the rest of your Trinity heroes. But he's also said he also has mentioned that Gal Gadot isn't done as Wonder Woman, or that she's out as Wonder Woman officially yet either. So it's going to be interesting to see what James Gunn and Peter Safran's plans certainly are. And I think I personally think we'll hear them this week, Stuart. I
Yeah.
know it's getting close towards the end of January here, but do you think that we'll hear more this week as far as a slate?
I don't know, honestly. I want to say by the end of the month. I really hope so because he made it seem like it was going to be happening within January of this
Yeah.
year. So I do think I think if anything, because James Gunn is the kind of person that loves to troll people, I wouldn't be surprised if he waited literally until like January 31st at 11:59 p.m. to announce like what was going to happen. but
Yeah.
but yeah, I would expect it hopefully sometime soon. But I just temper your expectations on what's going to be announced. Because like, James Gunn himself did say we're not even going to be announcing like who Superman is going to be yet. Like that's not even like what they're announcing. So I would expect like they're probably going to announce a few films that are going to be coming up. And the only reason like they haven't gone out of their way to debunk the Jason Momoa as Lobo rumor is because that might be an upcoming thing that they announce, whether or not he has his own solo movie or maybe he just is like a small role in the Superman movie. I think that's going to be one of the very few casting announcements we're going to be getting.
Well, it's so crazy you mentioned that because I literally made a post on Twitter earlier this week. I was like, man, all these Jason Momoa rumors about him being Lobo. James Gunn mentioned the idea that he's going to be retooling Superman to be a younger Superman. He's already going to be a reporter at the Daily Planet, sort of thing, right? Giving us an idea of the time period for Superman that we're getting. And I swear, Stuart, this is literally feels like the template of Superman Man of Tomorrow, the DC animated
Yeah.
movie that we had, because you got a younger Superman. And even in that movie, we get the appearance of Lobo, who pops up for a while in there as well. And so I'm trying to put this all together. I'm like, is if James Gunn reveals his title of the movie is Superman Man of Tomorrow, I'm gonna flip my shit. But I feel like that might be the direction that we're going here. And if they're using the DC animated world as their guide in the meantime, but who certainly knows? But big things are definitely coming down the the aisle for Jason Momoa and the DCU. Red is not as flavor says, now is your time, DC. Goddamn, MCU is struggling. I guess
Mhm.
talking about people's mixed reactions to Phase 4 so far. If there's any time for them to strike, it definitely is now. Nathan Moore, what's up, Nathan? He says James Gunn will really have to move mountains. Warner Brothers and Gunn have upset people within the fan base. Maybe they're trying to bring in more of a Marvel crowd. I don't know. We shall see how this goes. I mean, yeah, I feel like Warner Brothers and fans right now just get upset about any little thing at this point in time. Like we literally haven't even seen the slate of what this man is
Yeah.
going to even make for us to even be upset with him. I think they're just upset with a lot of things that they enjoyed being canceled, people they enjoyed as certain roles, maybe not necessarily coming back. It's always hard to accept change, unfortunately, but I don't think that should any blame should be on James Gunn whatsoever. This guy has proven himself, I think, with how he's handled his DC properties, his Marvel properties. He's put together some incredible films. If there's anybody that feels like they're the man for the job in regards to having the experience working with Marvel and Kevin Feige and getting an idea of how to put things together, I'm definitely willing to give James Gunn a chance before we crap on him like some other DC fans certainly have. So
Yeah, and keep in mind with James Gunn, I don't think he's even worried about those because a lot of the negativity is really just coming from online, whereas you have people outside the internet, outside the DC fandom that, keep up with a lot of DC movies, but at this point don't even know that James Gunn is now in charge of DC.
oh yeah, true. What's up, Mikey? Good to see you in here, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely been a while, so I'm glad to see you in here. All right, guys, with that out of the way, we will move on to our next topic. We'll go from talking about James Gunn to talking about James Gunn some more. But in this regards, the Marvel side of things, as this man gets no sleep. He's got to be, I don't know how he finds time in his day to do everything that he's done in regards to not only having to put together a slate of films with Peter Safran for DCU for the next 10 years, but also, that's right, he's got a movie coming out, right? Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He's been directing, I'm assuming wrapping up filming, maybe in the editor's bay. Who certainly knows? But Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is almost here. And Stuart, it seems as though he might be doing a little bit recruiting already. Is that even legal? I'm kind of curious how this certainly is going to work out. But let's go ahead and dive into this article here. This is from Empire Magazine, who talks a little bit about Guardians of the Galaxy, but also references the idea that James Gunn thinks his Guardian cast could join him at DC. I will work with all these people individually again. So he's already throwing that out into the world. It says, speaking to the Empire in the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania issue, James Gunn describes the final stretch of Guardians Volume 3 as my day job. He says, while the early stages of planning a fresh batch of comic book movies at DC Studios is for now a very healthy part-time job, that's at least another 40 to 60 hours a week. He says closing out volume 3 will be the end of an era for the writer director. And while that brings bittersweetness, it seems Gunn is confident that his team working with the cast who brought Marvel's intergalactic a-holes to life isn't over. He says, this casts are like my family. I cannot tell you how close I am to Chris Pratt and Palm and Dave and Zoe and Karen, but I also know I will work with them again, with all these people individually again. He adds, laughing, probably at my other job. So he's pretty open about this, Stuart, that not only clearly do they have love for each other like a family, they've been on this journey together doing Guardians of the Galaxy movies for such a long time, just even hinting at the ideas like, yeah, we'll probably work again in DC. I think is bold. I think it shows us we're very much in a new time period. Of us mixing actors from one franchise to certainly another here, and I'm kind of for it, honestly. There is a part of me that's like, I think of like professional sports and I'm like, is this tampering? can you talk to these people about joining your DC while they're still under Marvel contract? Like, is that tampering? Is that even legal? I have no idea, but I do find it funny that James Gunn's already doing his recruitment pitch to people that he certainly knows to certainly join. Like, I wonder if he's writing some of his characters for the DCU with like these people in mind. I know on our Facebook page, I posted this article asking people like, who could you see some of these Guardian cast members actually playing in the DCU? And one of our buddies, Tyler, had a great one saying he thinks Chris Pratt should play Booster Gold, which I thought was a great choice. He even said Karen Gillan as maybe like a Poison Ivy, which I thought would be pretty neat also to kind of see. So there are some actors I definitely would not mind seeing over at the DCU. I just love the story because it just felt very much like James Gunn already doing his recruiting pitch to bring over some people from the MCU. So who knows? Like, for me, it's one of those things. Who knows who's making it out of Guardians alive? Who knows what actors this is going to be their final film for? I mean, I know Dave Bautista has been pretty open about this being his last time as Drax as a character, but I have no idea what that means for the rest of the actors. But I could easily see somebody like Dave Bautista backing his friend James Gunn and doing another movie if he wants to. But is there anybody, Stuart? How do you feel about him doing his recruiting pitch? And is there anybody that you would like to see somebody in this cast possibly play in the DCU?
As long as they were given the right role, I'm totally cool with the entire Guardians cast coming to the DC universe. The big one the big two that I can think of off the top of my head. Actually, you know what? I'll give it three. There's three that I can think of off the top of my head that I think would work really well. Chris Pratt as Guy Gardner, Green Lantern.
Ooh, that'd be a great one.
Yeah. Dave Bautista, and I know this one has been done to death, but I'm gonna hop on this train. I think Dave Bautista would be amazing if he played like a serious version of Bane. Like I would want to see him in a Matt Reeves type of Batman movie, like as Bane, because I want to, I don't want any like Drax goofiness in this. Like, I want him to play it very serious because we've seen he's been able to pull off those type of roles in the past.
And Batista says, I want to be an actor, right? So give him a really meaty role like that under Matt Reeves. Oh, man, that'd be great to see.
And then lastly, Zoe Saldana. I would love to see her as Renee Montoya.
Oh, we already got a Renee. Oh, I was going to say we already got a Renee, but at the end of the day, it's getting rebooted, man. So
yeah, exactly. So, and then, yeah, for the others, I mean, like, I think, like, I can't really think of anything for the others, like, off the top of my head, and maybe Bradley Cooper as Hal Jordan, but that's about it.
I love the Guy Gardner one, bro. I wasn't even thinking about Guy Gardner, but I do think that'd be a really good one for him. Man, yeah, some great choices there. But do you think, I mean, well, I guess there's nothing wrong with him recruiting like that, huh? Do you think Kevin Feige's like, hey, bro, just focus on making my movie, okay? Like, just don't take my stars from me. Do you think there's any pushback against that type of stuff in Hollywood?
I mean, it'd be weird if there was. It would. I feel like it would only have pushback is if like there was someone who also wanted a specific role, but they were a lot better for the role, and he decided to just cast his friend instead. Which I don't see James Gunn being that kind of person. I think if he's going to cast his friend in a role, it's going to be for a really good reason. And Bradley Cooper is Two-Face. That would be. I'd be open to seeing an audition for that. I can't see it off the top of my head, but I'm sure he's probably got some skill that he's hiding from the rest of us that he would love to show off as Two-Face. So maybe.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see what James Gunn has in store for us, and if any of these characters do pop up sooner rather than later. Nathan says keep Chris Pratt out of the DC. So yeah, guys, if there's anything in particular that you guys think some of the Guardians of the Galaxy characters you would like to see have a role in the DCU, who would you certainly like to see them portray? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. So Rob says, do you think Kilowog will suit Dave more? It suits him as Kilowog and the both brute and has a ton of emotion underneath. I feel like you can get away with Dave Bautista could probably get away with Kilowog as just like a voice. I don't
Yeah.
know if Kilowog is something that you would have him sit down for makeup in. I mean, Homeboy Litter's already pissed off about the time he's had to sit down for Drax makeup. I don't know if he wants to put on a big Kilowog suit, but it would be pretty cool looking practical. But I do think they would probably go full CG for that. What do you think, though?
Vin Diesel, I think, would be a better Kilowog.
Ooh, okay. I mean, from one
Since we're
voice
still,
actor to
yeah.
another, bro. Yeah, that might work. Sidebar here. Sidebar. What's up, guy trapped in the corporate USA? He says this Power Ranger reunion going to be more mature, still for kids, even though there's a call out, etc., to the adults. I gotta think since it's on Netflix, it'll be a little bit more mature.
Mhm.
I think this will be more mature, maybe than Cosmic Fury.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't expect like a TV-14 rating, but I would expect like, TV PG
Yeah, something along those lines.
instead of like the
But yeah, guys.
Y7 rating.
So we'll go from this James Gunn story to another James Gunn story. This is like the James Gunn hour here. Continuing to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy film that's upcoming. Believe it or not, we actually wind up getting our very first look at Will Poulter as Adam Warlock. Let me go ahead and pull up this photo for you guys. This actually comes to us from, I believe it's Empire Magazine. Yes, Empire Magazine has given us our first look at Adam Warlock here, played by Will Poulter. The Empire Magazine says Adam Warlock is definitely not a good guy, according to James Gunn, as they reveal this particular image. It says the ultra powerful cosmic entity later got a more official tee up in his upcoming big screen debut, soon to arrive in James Gunn's long awaited threequel, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. As established in Volume 2, the Gold Hue Sovereign leader Aisha created him to take down our favorite group of intergalactic a-holes, the Guardians themselves, after they double-crossed her. Get ready, then, for an incoming comic book favorite whose literal, I don't even know what that means, or perhaps, as Gunn teases, it's kind of more complicated than that, he tells Empire, but he's definitely not a good guy. What we're seeing is the infant form of Warlock, newly out of the cocoon. He does not understand life very well. He's basically a baby. And as babies go, he's as babies go, he's a physically imposing one, arriving in the form of a beefed up Will Poulter, that's 6'3" Brit, who beyond popping up in the John Flynn indie flick The Score, was last seen on the big screen in the Midsummer. I forgot he was even in that movie. But James Gunn says people online were saying, "Oh, Tom Cruise should be Adam Warlock," is what James Gunn says. Who had other ideas? He says, "I wanted someone who was youthful. I wanted the person who had the dramatic chops and the comedic chops, not only for this movie, but for what Marvel will use Adam Warlock for in the future." Yes, because with the character of this stature soon to be in play, and you can imagine him being being a handy person to have on board in the upcoming multiverse saga. James Gunn teases he could become this really important character. All the time raising him in that cocoon looks to have been worth it. So he's talking about getting Will Poulter for the role because he wanted somebody who not only had the dramatic chops and comedic chops, but was also going to be youthful enough in order to go ahead and be utilized for a long period of time. So this very much, Stuart, feels very much like the Adam Warlock we're going to get, as he states, is going to be sort of in his babyish form, just fresh out of the cocoon. Sounds like he's barely going to understand what the world is certainly like. And I think when you got somebody that's going to be as confused as Adam Warlock, I think that makes for a great sort of like, hey, let me just point you in this direction and you go handle my business for me. You know what I mean? Without having to necessarily think on his own. So I do wonder if that's how the Sovereign Nation is going to be utilizing him against Guardians of the Galaxy. Like him being fresh out of what's going on, not sure what he's fully doing, but is just kind of taking orders and taking names at the end of the day. But do you think that's how he's certainly going to be used in here? And what do you think about Will Poulter as this character?
Man, If you had asked me after seeing We're the Millers, I would have assumed you were joking. Like for him as Adam Warlock, but like looking at him now in the suit, this is why I didn't want to like jump on the hate train when it was announced that he was going to be playing Adam Warlock, because I'm like, knowing James Gunn, he has a good reason for casting who he's casting in this role, and seeing him now as Adam Warlock, seeing the kind of arc that he's going to be going through this movie, I think, I think this is a perfect casting decision. Really excited to see what they do with the role, and I really hope like there's a moment where he's just kicking the Guardians' ass, and like you just have like Peter Quill looking at Rocky Raccoon and just being like, you just had to take those batteries, didn't you?
Yeah, bringing back that great Volume 2 reference. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Like,
yeah,
I've
I'm oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm hyped overall. I think this is a great casting decision. So far from what we've seen, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm really excited to see Will Poulter. I do like him in certain movies. I am certainly a fan of his. I thought he was pretty good in Midsummer. So I am eager to see what he's going to bring to that Adam Warlock role. This just feels like it's setting up a case of he turns out to be a bad guy when this movie begins, but by the end of it, maybe Chris Pratt has another dance battle or something like that, and he like convinces him, "Hey, you should be on our side. You should be helping us," sort of thing, and then maybe Adam Warlock ages a little bit more, or becomes a little bit more mature and understands the situation he's in, and now he's protecting life instead of wanting to destroy it. I'm going to be really interested to see where his arc goes, because yeah, Adam Warlock, especially when it comes to the Galaxy side of things, has a huge arc in Marvel Comics. So to kind of see how he's going to play a role, whether that be in Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty, or maybe even something after that on a much bigger picture. Like, James Gunn has already mentioned that the Guardians of the Galaxy team is not going to look the same after this particular movie, that if they do another Guardians movie, it is probably going to be with new cast members. It wouldn't surprise me if Will Poulter as Adam Warlock plays a significant role in those future Guardians movies, or any film really that has to deal with the galaxy in the universe as a whole, because Adam Warlock definitely has a big place in the Marvel Comics as well. So it's going to be interesting to see him stick around for quite a few years. Like, I'm interested to see more of him. I'm interested to see more of Harry Styles as Star Fox, who got teased at the end of Eternals, right? It feels like there's another chapter to this big intergalactic world that we have in the MCU that we haven't quite tapped into yet. Like, they're almost trying to end off Volume 3 as the end of a chapter, and then maybe reintroduce us to some of these newer threats and characters in the bigger MCU when it comes to the galaxy out there. So, who knows where these characters will pop up again next, but they definitely are putting their pieces in place, I think, for something big as well.
Yeah,
What do
and
you
I'm
what do
also
you think though? Because I was gonna say, what do you think about that though? Especially because I am kind of curious. Are we even getting an Eternals 2 movie? Is that something they want to pull the trigger on, or do they feel tentative about it? And if they do feel tentative about it, what's going to happen with the Star Fox character, right? So I am kind of curious as to where these characters might pop up again soon, eventually.
because I was going to say, like, I think that Eternals 2 would make the most sense for a character like Adam Warlock to go to, and especially like kind of looking at him and Harry Styles' character Star Fox. Their designs are very similar in a way, and also like not to mention they're both just like on a whole, like along with the Eternals in general, they're just on a whole new cosmic scale when it comes to power level. So I feel like that's the kind of team you would want to put them with, because if you try to keep him with the Guardians of the Galaxy, it'd be like having Superman working alongside with the Defenders. It's like there's just such a huge power scale difference where you just kind of wonder why they wouldn't just have Superman do all the work. Same with
Work
like
for 'em,
Adam Warlock if he was with the Guardians. So to me, him sticking around with the Guardians doesn't really make that much sense. But him, going with the Eternals, or maybe teaming up with the Silver Surfer like sometime down the line, something like that, I could definitely see. I don't really see him being a mainstay though in the Guardians franchise going forward.
Gotcha. So you think that he'll be utilizing other franchises in the MCU?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely tons of possibilities with everything that they're kind of been setting up and establishing. So we'll definitely see, guys. But let us know your thoughts. You see the first look at Will Poulter as Adam Warlock from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Do you like the costume? Are you pumped for the costume? Are you excited to see him in this particular role? Let us know how you think he'll be utilized. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that out of the way, guys, we got one last topic that we're going to be diving into for you guys today as we continue on the Marvel train, but maybe push James Gunn to the background for the rest of the show for a while here, as we focus on the upcoming MCU film set to go ahead and drop this February. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, as Kang the Conqueror is in fact back in the news here, as Kevin Feige this week certainly talked a little bit about him. Jonathan Majors is truly making the rounds. I actually read an article today. I might go ahead and post it up on the Facebook page, that was talking to Jonathan Majors about some of his upcoming roles in Creed 3 and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think 2023 is going to be the year of Jonathan Majors, honestly. This guy is certainly everywhere. I just watched his film Devotion, which is currently on Paramount Plus. I think you can also purchase it digitally also if you certainly want to as well, guys. So certainly check it out if you haven't. But his next major role I'm really looking forward to seeing him doing is Kang the Conqueror. And him, along with Kevin Feige, talked a little bit about his character and also released to us, Stuart, a brand new image. So let me go ahead and pull up this article first, and then we'll reveal the image for you guys here. Again, this is from Empire Magazine. They literally have an Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania issue currently out. And this is where we're getting all the articles from this week. But Kang brings a new kind of big bad to the MCU in Quantumania, says Kevin Feige. He was at the time of talking about Thanos. He was at the time of the Infinity War and Endgame by far the biggest bad in the MCU. Again, talking about Thanos. But as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania begins Phase 5 and kicks the multiverse saga up to the next level, a villain is coming whose serious smarts, sinister aims, and several alternate selves will make defeating the big purple guy look like a walk in the park. His name is Kang the Conqueror. And it says, he wants nothing less than dominion over absolutely everything across all realities, because he doesn't just exist in a single universe. He's across every branch of the multiverse at war, not just with everyone else, but every other version of himself. Blimey, is what it says in the article. This is what Kevin Feige says. He is the obvious choice as you're dealing with the multiverse, Kevin Feige says. Kang allowed us to do a new kind of big bad. He's a different type of villain, warring amongst themselves as much as he's warring with our heroes. While Kang, played by Jonathan Majors, is set to be a major concern for the MCU going forward, Quantumania finds him trapped in the quantum realm, where he'll soon have a run-in with Scott Lang, Hope Van Dyne, and the wider Ant Farm. Kang's a very powerful person, but when we meet him, he's in a position where he needs to get that power back. He has a ship and a device that would allow him to go anywhere and any when he wants if he can get it online. If only he had access to genius scientists with PIM particles. If only, indeed, is what it teases here. So that's just the first part of this article, Stuart. What do you think about what Kevin Feige has to say here in regards to Kang the Conqueror and him being the new big bad?
Yeah, very different type of big bad from Thanos, as he said, and I love that his you know, overall thing doesn't just span throughout the universe of the MCU, but the entire multiverse altogether. Really curious how it's gonna kind of if there's going to be any kind of tie-in between this and then Loki season 2, because we know that Kang is going to be kind of a big, prominent player in Loki season 2. So I'm very curious how those two are going to work off each other, if they work off each other at all. And then also, yeah, just I do think his overall the overall MacGuffin he needs makes a lot of sense. The PIM particles in order to activate, his device to be able to go anywhere at any time. Very dangerous, and you could see why Scott, could at that point be kind of desperate enough to want to make a deal with him. So it'll be interesting to see, the overall choices Scott is forced to make, either, for himself or for the greater good of the universe. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, that conundrum that Scott finds himself in is a very interesting one. It definitely feels like Scott playing with fire. The idea of, hey, I need you to do something for me. If you do something, I'll give something back to you. It definitely puts Scott in a very interesting predicament, one that I'm really fascinated to see how it plays itself out. Like, that's the one thing that we've been talking about. There is like a mood change about this particular film and all the trailers that I've seen, one that just fascinates me so much because it feels like it's a very personal sort of reasoning that Kang is trying to give Scott to kind of really hit close to home, to the point to where he's almost willing to do anything in order to kind of help Kang, which he probably knows is the wrong decision to do, but might be willing to do it anyway. And so I find that kind of stuff really intriguing, to kind of see them focus on the characters' motivations. And what I love hearing about Kevin Feige in here too is the idea of him not just being at war with the MCU, but just being at war with himself and all the other variants that we've seen, or at least that we've been heard about from the end of Loki, sort of season one. So, like, for me, it would be interesting to see if Kang mentions any of his other variants in here, or um, um, explains his side of the bigger Kang war, or that he's having with his other variants. Like, I wonder if he'll even reference the guy at the end of Loki season one, if he'll reference other variants of him, like a Nathaniel Richards variant, and maybe get a glimpse as to what he might certainly look like also. So I really want to see what he's trying to accomplish, not only for himself, but whatever it certainly would take to, at the end of the day, be the overall Kang and be the most powerful out of sort of all your variants. So I am really intrigued to see how Jonathan Majors winds up bringing that to light. And I think Kevin Feige did a great job of emphasizing why he's a new type of big bad here. But I do want to go ahead and dive back into this article. Let me go ahead and bring it up here, and we'll continue on for you guys. It does say, as for Jonathan Majors, he's only just getting started in his ongoing role as a multifaceted and multiversal menace. He's already played relatively benevolent variant He Who Remains in the Loki season finale, with plenty more incarnations to come. He says, I met with the Loki team first. Then Peyton came on and we had our chat for the film. He says he gave me a few reference points. He says Alexander the Great, things like that. And it seems Major's unexpected take on the reclusive, theatrical, erratic He Who Remains was only the beginning. Kane adds tonal diversity, real conflict, and real friction, he promises. You're being introduced to a new vibration in the MCU. There's conflict, not just mano a mano, not just hero and villain, but your way of life and my way of life. I'm coming for it. We're in battle here. It says, strap in, everyone. Kang's dynasty begins now. I will say, I love hearing Jonathan Majors speak. I feel like he is just on a different mental level and realm than I'm ever on. And I just love the way that he breaks down and deciphers these characters, because I think as an actor, you getting the script and you understanding who your character is and how you should play him is probably one of the most important things as an actor, to really find something that you can connect to, and just branch off of that and create for yourself. And it feels as though Jonathan Majors just has a way of thinking about King the Conqueror that I find so intriguing. And I think the fact that he is a character that has multiple layers, that he's not just hero versus villain, that there is an interpersonal conflict with him. And I think that's something that Jonathan Majors truly enjoys. I mean, if you get to tell this man, hey, we want you to play one character, but multiple versions of that character, the idea of Majors having to find conflict with each of those and create his own, you know, pun intended, his own variation on those characters. I find so fascinating, man, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so incredibly excited for King the Conqueror. It's just because of what Jonathan Majors himself is certainly going to bring to the role. I loved him as He Who Remains. I mean, talk about just being captivated by him on screen, listening to every single detail that he certainly gives about the situation with Kang, and now getting to see what a different variant kind of thinks of that, and his own personal struggles and conflict with the situation that he's in. It's all coming from a different perspective, and I think you need a really talented man like Jonathan Majors to be able to tap into something like that. So when he references the idea that Peyton Reed gave him an example of, use Alexander the Great as sort of like a template for how you want to play Jonathan Majors, and just his experience with being also on the Loki series, to see what he's going to be able to create with this character. I can't wait to see how it plays itself out on the big screen. And I think the MCU, even before I've seen this dude, Stuart, I think the MCU has found themselves another great villain in here, from Loki to Thanos and now to Kang, some of the biggest bads that you need to pull off a successful cinematic universe. And I think they're doing it to perfection so far. And I haven't even seen the freaking movie. That's just how good I know Jonathan Majors is. And I think they're going to bring all their effort to bring Kang to life here. So I'm super pumped, Stuart. What about you, though, when you hear this article?
Same here. I thought it was a very ballsy move of Marvel to like introduce him first, not as a villain per se, but just as a guy who's like doing, what he thinks is the right thing for the universe, that kind of a thing. It was very interesting for Marvel to show him off in that light before showing him off as like kind of this big overarching villain that we're going to get in the MCU. But in this particular case, I think it paid off because now we got to see the full range of his acting skills. We got to see him play, like a very different version of Kang and Loki, and now we're going to see like what he's going to actually look like being menacing. And if the teasers or the trailers are anything to go by, it looks like he's going to be doing an amazing job.
Yeah, I don't know why, but this movie just has a feeling of the villain's gonna win. Like he's gonna come out on top in some way or another. Like, you mentioned the idea of the finale for Loki season 1, and it makes me wonder if this comes full circle, and maybe the idea of Kang winning in here is maybe what is reflected at the end of Loki season 1 when he comes back to the TVA and they literally have a sculpture of Kang on the freaking wall. And I wonder if it's due to the effects of what maybe happens here between Ant-Man and Kang himself. So I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it's a multiversal saga. The way that they are writing some of these stories are just a little bit all over the place, but you have that sense of it. It is definitely all connected and working towards a much bigger picture here. So yeah, I cannot wait, man. I think they got a great villain on their hands.
Yeah.
And Marcelino says, I like how Kang is more involved before becoming the main baddie. Thanos had a preference that made you fear him, but he didn't do anything until Infinity War. Yeah, he's already letting his presence be known, especially when it comes to Loki season 1. I'm gonna rewatch it again, man. I'm gonna rewatch that series over again just so I can get to that final episode and hear that Kang variant story one more time.
Actually, yeah, I might do that right before this movie comes out. I might just do kind of a little recap of Loki before going into this.
Yeah, it probably would not hurt whatsoever because I'm pretty sure all those writers are certainly working together. Jeff Loveness, Michael Waldron, and even the WandaVision showrunners also. So they definitely are working very closely to formulate this story for us. Red is not a flavor says, no way they typed out Blimey. I promise it's in there. If you go to the article, it's literally at the end of the last paragraph. It's just Blimey. It says it right there. I promise. I wouldn't lie to you. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. How excited are you for Jonathan Majors to certainly portray Kang the Conqueror after hearing what Majors and Kevin Feige had to say, talking very highly of Kang the Conqueror? Are you excited to go ahead and see him in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, Stuart, that will wrap up all of our main topics today.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had some great topics today, guys. But I think you know what time it is now.
It is time for our live viewer questions.
And as always, man, I've missed that. I've missed that. And as always, guys, we do have your live viewer questions that we're going to get into. If you would like to know how to submit your live viewer questions, feel free to always go over to our main YouTube page. As you can see here, if you click on this little community tab, it will take you over to our community forum. Usually we'll post up a live viewer question post for you guys, but this week we just let you guys know we're returning and we're coming back. And you guys were nice enough to go ahead and leave some live viewer questions. So we're going to get into all of these for you guys today. And whatever we don't finish here, we definitely will go ahead and put into its own live viewer question video for you guys. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Datilla with the insert Degeneration X meme. I said, "Are you ready for our return?" Obviously, yes, we were pumped for our return today. So thank you for that, Datilla. We also got Jessica Friedman here. Do you think Dreamer will give some updates on Team Supergirl when she comes to see Team Flash? And what do you think about Amelia becoming the first female Red Ranger? And do you think this could open the door for another female Red Ranger in the future? Well, look, I will say, as far as the Dreamer thing goes, yes, I am expecting her to hopefully give us some updates, maybe on what's going on between, her and the rest of the Supergirl team. Personally, I much rather have it be Supergirl that gives us the update on what's going on with her own team. But I have no idea if Melissa Benoist is certainly coming back or not. I mean, damn, you got Stephen Amell to come back. You're trying to tell me you can't get Melissa Benoist to come back too? Come on, get the whole band back together. I think she would be psyched for that. So there's a part of me that's still hoping that she's in there. But maybe if Dreamer's coming back, maybe Dreamer will be like, she gave me her mantle and her key to the Justice League Hall of Justice, so now I'm her replacement. I hope that's not the case, but we'll see what happens here. Do you think we'll get an update from Dreamer?
Yeah, I think she'll kind of give like a little quick like update of where all the super friends are at.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too, man. I'm really hoping so. And what do you think about that? How do you feel about Amelia becoming the first female Red Ranger? And do you think it could open the door for others?
Definitely can open the door for others. Her being the first one, I think is interesting. I wouldn't say it would have been my I don't know. It's not that I'm against like her specifically being the Red Ranger. It's just that I feel like if they're playing it like they have in past seasons where the Red Ranger is usually typically the leader, to me it kind of feels a little bit weird that that role didn't go to Ion instead, because I feel like
Oh,
that
okay.
kind of would have made a little bit more sense for it to go to the next person who was like, you know, as part of it. I mean, then again, I guess you could say that maybe Ion decided that like being a leader just wasn't for him after like that one time he attempted. So maybe that's why. But that all being said, I'm definitely curious to see what causes like the color upgrade, and whether or not it's just, you know, the new suits and they just leave it off with there's a simple explanation for that without actually explaining, or if they actually give an explanation. I'm kind of curious to see. But I am also happy to know that it's not because like, and I know a lot of people are like trying to say that Zeta was getting demoted. Simon Bennett did go and say that he is not being demoted or anything. He is still like kind of the leader of the team. So you
Oh,
know,
okay.
we'll definitely see how that all plays out.
I mean, I guess when I look at Zato as a new color and Amelia taking over the red, I just think he's just bumped up to a bigger power than red. You know, like
Yeah.
I think he's in a bigger role. I don't know if he oversees the team or not, but I still feel like he's got that more powerful role at the end of the day. I do think it's going to open up the door for another female Red Ranger in the future. You know, the Jonathan Entwistle stuff. I feel almost pretty sure that his Red Ranger will be a female. So I think that might be the case there. Also, again, that's just speculation on my part, but I feel pretty confident that that's what the route that he'll certainly go. But I could be wrong in that sense. As far as Amelia becoming the first female Red Ranger, look, I will say this: I haven't fully finished Dino Fury yet, so let me see how I feel about the reveals and all the secrets and stuff in regards to where Amelia is at the end of her arc here. Um, I've heard some pushback in regards to the Amelia character being the Red Ranger. I've heard some people saying they believe that should have probably gone to somebody like Izzy. who I think has had a really fantastic first season and has definitely shown herself in regards to like her attitude, her ability to stand up for people, just the things that she does as a character. But I definitely need to see more of what Amelia is going to do in this second half of Dino Fury for me when I finish the episodes, because I do feel like season 1 is very much an Izzy season, and it seems as though season 2 is very much like an Amelia season, with Zato kind of being the characters whose arc kind of follows the entirety of both seasons overall, sort of thing. So it feels like they're just trying to do their best to give other people the opportunity to shine, and Amelia might be getting that role here. So I don't fully know how I feel. I mean, I think it's well deserved so far. I mean, kudos to her. I mean, she's such a fan favorite. The idea of moving her over because of her popularity would certainly make sense to me. But I want to see more of how her character fleshes out before I feel a certain type of way. But we'll see.
Yeah. And then the other thing that they could do with that is the Star Trek dynamic, where like even though Zato is like the leader, the captain, like maybe she's like his number one, so she's like the commander of the team because it's all in space, so maybe they have like more of a navy kind of feel to them.
Mm. Okay, yeah, I get you. I get exactly what you mean there. Sorry, I thought somebody was opening my door. Um, Marcelino, why do you guys not like Supergirl season 1 when it was on CBS? And don't just tell me it's bad. Give me specific details. God, it's been forever. First off, it's been forever since I've seen Supergirl season 1. It just felt like a show that just did not know how to handle a superhero television show. I never really know. I just remember thinking to myself when they aired on CBS, oh, that's a weird place to air it. I was kind of confused why they weren't adding it to the CW like they were with the Flash. Because it was just one of those things, like I've never seen CBS try to attempt to make a superhero show before. And if Supergirl is going to be your first attempt, for me, I was able to tell watching the series, like, yeah, I don't know if CBS even knows what they're doing with this show, or like really how to pull this off. I mean, Maxwell Lord, I think, was the main villain, sort of thing. It just felt very underwhelming, along with the underwhelming CGI effects at the time also. So I don't know. The drama was certainly there for me at times, but I don't know. It felt like it just couldn't. It just didn't know how to market itself, or I don't know how to produce itself as a superhero show to me. But what about you, Stuart?
For me, gotta be honest, I honestly don't really remember that much about it. I just remember like that while I did like a lot of the costumes and special effects, I remember like not being a huge fan of the overall story and plot and everything. I also, like most first seasons, I felt like it had a lot of growing room. So I feel like the characters weren't like fully like as fleshed out as they, usually are, or as they would be like in future seasons and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it didn't connect with me. But I also think the biggest part of it was that I don't think we were the target audience. I feel like this was a show that was trying to hit people that weren't necessarily superhero fans. And it just didn't do a good job of it. And so that's why I think that, when it came to season 2, it felt a lot more comic booky. It felt more like it was actually trying to be like a superhero show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when they announced that they were going to move it to CW and production was going to be moving up to Vancouver, I just felt a sense of relief.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, finally, it's in the hands of producers and showrunners and stuff that like know what it is that they're doing, or like have that care to put their best foot forward and really make this work. Whereas CBS just didn't feel that way to me. So let's see here. Blossom says yay for our return. Thank you. Jacob says most definitely I want to hear y'all's opinion on the new Power Ranger news. Well, we definitely got that for you, Jacob. Adrian Peterson, so much stuff has been revealed this month. What did you think of the first look photos of the upcoming MMPR anniversary reunion special? And from the photos, what did you find that really caught your attention and can't wait to see once the anniversary special is here? So look, I'm gonna point out something that I believe AJ might have pointed out to me, or somebody pointed out to me. I didn't even realize this at first. It's this photo here. Not only
Mm-hmm.
is Radbug 2 in here, but I thought that was actually pretty cool to see. But they're in a cemetery. and I did not even notice the headstones and stuff in the back. At first, I literally just saw the characters and the bug, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool! Yay, fulfilling my wishes!" And then I'm like, "Oh," they brought it up. They're like, they're in the cemetery, right?" I'm like, "Oh shit, they are in the cemetery." So there's a part of me that's thinking that they're visiting with Min in this photo. Also, I got to assume that they're visiting Trini's grave, which I think is going to be just pull at my heartstrings. Why don't you, Jesus, guys? But that's one of the things that really stood out to me. Is there anything in particular that might have stood out to you, Stuart? Or
Literally
caught
both
your
those.
attention?
Yeah, that photo in particular for the reasons that you stated. It being at a cemetery, and of course the fact that they, the red bug is something that like just doesn't get brought up in Power Rangers like ever. So the fact that they brought it back looking like shinier than ever before, I just want to say I am so happy that they embrace the campiness of it. But we also see them in front of a cemetery, so it shows that they're ready to also have a little bit more mature storytelling that you wouldn't have seen in
Yes.
MMPR. So I think this photo really just says everything I'm looking forward to about this special.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you, man. Definitely agree with you. Um, But yeah, I would love the first look photos all in general. Yeah, seeing how swole Steve is in here. Catherine's still looking fine, if you ask me. And I just love seeing the seriousness of Walter here as Zach. They just have this mature growth about them that I really want to see how they handle being Rangers at this particular age. Will they come across as seasoned vets? You know what I'm saying? Better teamwork, the way that they communicate or talk about, talk to each other, sort of thing. I really want to see how it comes together, and I love the shot of them about to morph. It does make me wonder where the rest of the team is though in this shot. Like, where's Walter? Is he next to Catherine somewhere off shot? Who certainly knows? But I think everybody looks great, man.
I also wonder if there might be like kind of a conflict between Walter and Rocky, like if there might be like, because he's never worked with Rocky before, so if there might be like this isn't what Jason would do type of thing, and then Rocky
Ooh.
being like, well, I'm not Jason, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, my thing would be how long have they worked together so far? Like, is this their first time coming together as a team, or have they been working side by side for years? Like, little details like that is everything I would love to learn about. Dino Knights, AJ, he's got a theory about MMPR Green in this special. He says, I already asked this in our group chat, but I think the MMPR Green Ranger we saw in the behind the scenes featurette for the MMPR special is either Adam or perhaps Tommy's son JJ, but from the future. This could also be why we now have Robo Rita, since SPA is being established on screen. Maybe this was the first time Space Patrol ever got to learn about time travel before SPD was formed. I also think, but may not actually happen, is maybe JDF secretly did ADR before his passing, which was between September and October. I know he said he had retired from Power Rangers, but doesn't mean he can't surprise fans with a little small comeback. We know how much JDF loved his fans.
Mhm.
As for why it could be Adam, considering he and Aisha are now working at the SPA, which I think is either Space Patrol Alpha or Academy, I know that the synopsis floating around is that the team is called back to action once again during a global crisis. So I think Adam decides to become the Green Ranger, and we get some explanation to why Tommy couldn't make it. Perhaps he decided to officially retire as a Ranger. We know the Rangers themselves will get their powers back either for the Morphine Masters, the SPA recreates them, or we've seen in SPD and Dino Thunder episode history, they can restore old powers, or the little Power Ranger figures from the set photos are Ranger keys similar to Super Mega Force. So those are some of his theories that he certainly might have.
I did notice that, like, in the background, there is something that looks like a steering wheel from a pirate ship. So I do wonder if, like, maybe Ghost Sage is like what kind of helps. Yeah, like right above Walter's head, you can kind of see what looks like.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's another part of me. Why that's why I was thinking. Like for me, when I look at that, for some reason, I think Machine Empire.
oh, I could see that too.
It was just like the gadgetry and stuff, maybe a mixture of gadgetry and magic. I have no idea, like an alchemist thing. I have no idea.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Like you get like a villain who uses both science and magic together, and that's why he becomes like one of the more like deadlier villains in the Power Rangers universe.
That'd be bananas. That'd be bananas. But we'll see. But yeah, I love seeing. Oh, and then also from this photo, you get to see Zordon's cracked stasis pod in the back. I found that pretty interesting. Also, that they are keeping that there. A callback to the in space moment where Andros cracks it open. The fact that they still have it in their possession, I find really interesting. Is it just a memorial for him? Is Zordon back in some weird way? I like, who are they talking to, bro? I have no idea. But so many questions, but I think we'll get plenty of answers. Let's see here. Francois is up next. The Magna Defender. I've come to accept that the Magna Defender is a species, and Mike was just wearing his body. Makes things very weird, but nothing else tells us otherwise, especially the whole thing with him merging with his Toro Zord. He grows to giant size. I feel like he was just an alien from some unnamed species that has appearance of armored skin. His son Zika looked just like him. This isn't weird when you consider we have species on Earth that do the same thing, i.e., crabs, scorpions, turtles, etc. As for Mike morphing into the Magna Defender, that wasn't weird either. I figure the Magna Defender's essence allowed Mike to become one of his species temporarily, but giving him two actual morphers, which were from Die Ranger but weren't used during MMPR season 2. Is he like trying to say that that Magna Defender is like a symbiote, like a Venom thing?
I could see that, or just that they, you know, are born with the armor like attached to them, kind of like like crabs, as he used as like an example, how they're born with their shell. Same with
Shells and stuff.
turtles. Yeah,
Interesting theory there for the Magna Defender, Francois. Thank you for sharing that. That's an interesting one. Yeah, I think of like the Venom alien species, but like if the Venom species was armor and
yeah,
using other people's bodies as symbiotes.
that would
I don't
also be
know.
kind of interesting. Yeah,
That'd be interesting. Nicole, what's up, Nicole? Hey y'all, hope you're all doing lovely and had an amazing Christmas and New Year's. Since this was the latest news, which was Power Rangers Cosmic Fury and Mighty Morphin Special, I'll instead ask, what do you think all what do you all think of the announcement and official photos of Stephen Amell returning as Oliver Queen Green Arrow? Oh, do you have that photo, Stuart? If you can look that
oh,
up with, I think it was him, Barry, Kid Flash, and Spartan. I don't think I have that photo saved, but if you do, if you can find that. What did you all think of the announcement and official photos of Stephen Amell returning as Oliver Queen for the final season of The Flash? And what do you hope is the reason he was called back into action, considering we last saw him as the Spectre? That's a good question, Nicole. First off, I remember years ago we talked about this, me and Indy, at least I think he might have been here at the time when we mentioned it. Stephen Amell saying he was done with Arrow and wanted to move on to other things in his life. And I just remember saying, never say never, man. Never say never. Because you never know where your career is going to go. If you ever have to circle back around to portraying this character at some point in time, you never want to burn bridges. And so I'm glad Stephen Amell certainly never did. But he's back. He's definitely back. He did do a video that was like, don't ask me how, don't ask me when, but I'm coming back. He's like, I'm not going to give you any details, but just know I'm back. And so I have no idea how he's going to be returning as Arrow, if his Spectre form can bring him back to this plane and he can transform into whoever he certainly wants to. Maybe that's where he gets his new Arrow suit, which looks like a new designed Arrow suit also. But I'm excited for it. I saw the photo. It feels like we got the band back together. The only person that's missing, if you ask me, is Melissa as Supergirl. So I do wish that she was there. But the fact of her not being in any of these photos makes me feel like, man, is she really not going to be in this special? If she's not, I guess I'll sleep okay. But it still will feel like a missed opportunity, like something is certainly missing. But I'm hoping that they have to bring together the whole Justice League. If you ask me, we haven't seen the Justice League since the finale for Crisis on Infinite Earths altogether. I would love this to be a reason to bring the whole entire JLA together in this final meeting. But who knows? What do you think, Stuart?
oh dang. Sorry, I looked for the photo. I can't. That's weird. Like the only files I
Okay,
can
I'll look
find
for
on
it.
the photo, it's like a weird file that's not letting me upload it onto StreamYard. But yes, with Stephen Amell coming back as Arrow, very interested and kind of curious as to why it is that he's back as Arrow and not the Spectre. I mean,
Spectre.
I guess maybe the one thing I could see is that, yeah, obviously if he came back as the Spectre, then, you know, what threat could possibly stand against any of them at that point? Because it's like literally he's a god at that point. But I am very curious on how he comes back as Arrow and why he comes back as specifically Arrow and not the Spectre. I'm really excited to see him and Diggle back together because there was like a video that was taken by, I believe, Canada Graphs, and it's the two of them hugging, and no one could tell if that was actually for a scene that they were filming or if it was like actually the actors just being really excited to see each other again.
Oh,
But yeah, regardless, I really excited to see him back, really excited to see Wally West back, you know, a character who I really like and I feel like constantly got mistreated on the Flash like way too much.
yeah,
So
definitely
it's
true.
Yeah, so it's really cool that they were able to finally get him back for this final season. And yeah, just seeing the four of them together, badass.
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely badass, man. I cannot wait to see um what they look like together. Let me see if can I save this image? No, it won't let me save this image.
It's also going to be funny
Sorry.
seeing David Ramsey playing two versions of the exact same character now, because he's supposed to have somewhat of a role on Superman and Lois season 3 too, but we now know that
Really?
they're not connected, so it'll be interesting to see him play two versions of Diggle.
Yeah, it definitely will. Let's see here. We got Roberto Buena. Roberto Buena. He says, "Hola amigos, ¿cómo estás? Is Justin still True Blue?" Okay, so some of the Power Rangers series take place in the future, separate dimensions, and present time. So now my question is: Justin still running around with the blue turbo morpher since he got it back during Power Rangers in space? We know in the episode of In Space, Justin got his powers back by having his connection through his vehicle, Stormblaster. Story wise, why hasn't Justin returned in the future series that needed reinforcements?
Well, my headcanon has always been that he started his own Turbo team, and that is why we have both Turbo and In Space during the Mega Battle in Power Rangers Megaforce. It's
Oh,
Yeah, that's always been my headcanon.
I dig it, man. I dig it. I'll take that as an answer. I dig it. Oh my God, Carlo, Jesus, y'all killing me here, man. Um, Our MMPR reunion special connected to the arrival of SPD? Okay, let's go through this. Yeah, keep these to like a paragraph, guys. Condense these thoughts. Um, this is a long stretch, but in 2025, there's apparently no longer any other Power Ranger team besides Space Control Delta. In part two of SPD series finale, when the Rangers and Commander Kruger were taken by Emperor Grum, Cap Minks announced to all the other SPD personnel that there were no one else to protect Earth at that moment. This implied that SPD, as a series in general, the B Squad Rangers, were the last surviving team of Power Rangers on planet Earth. Fast forward to now, it is 2023 in real life, and since we are getting that 30th anniversary special and later Cosmic Fury, could the MMPR reunion be an homage to what SPD as a series actually ended up being? 2 years before SPD timeline of 2025, the main plot of SPD was that the story takes place in the year 2025 after Earth has welcomed alien beings to live peacefully with the human race. Even the narrator we got in the first episode itself said, in the not too distant future, Earth has become a haven for all alien races who come from the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Before I continue, it would be kind of interesting if that's a synopsis or something that plays into this MMPR special. The
Hmm.
idea of like maybe it's something that Adam and Aisha are certainly working towards, where they are trying to make this world livable also for aliens as well, to live, in harmony with humans. I wonder if that's something that they are working towards and just kind of teasing that opening dialogue for SPD. I think that'd be pretty cool. He also says the new behind the scenes video from MMPR reunion special. The cast member said that the new adventure sees the Rangers come face to face with a familiar threat from the past. In the midst of a global crisis, they are called on once again to be the heroes the world needs. Does this imply that 2023 in the main Power Ranger universe, there would be already there would already be no other team of Power Rangers left. However, as seen in Dino Fury, the Grid Battle Force Rangers are still around and their powers fully functioning. Even in the 6-month time jump in Dino Fury, we did officially see on screen that Rafkani refugees decided to stay and live on Earth, basically kickstarting SPD timeline of aliens living among humans. As of now, we don't even know if this reunion special will take place before or after Dino Fury. The present-day Dino Fury Rangers still had their powers at the end of the series, except for you-know-who. This is even more confusing concerning the fact that we will be seeing SPA on screen for the first time with Adam and Aisha. We've had legacy seasons take place in the same year. The series themselves aired on TV. Will these two 30th anniversaries somehow cause SPD as a series to be moved to an alternate timeline, even though SPD Rangers themselves did travel to 2004 and 2005 and fought with Dino Thunder team? So what do you think? Do you think that this will move SPD to another timeline, or do you think this is building up to it, or are they even taking that into account?
I think this is meant, like, there may be continuity errors with them doing this, but I think this is all meant to be a giant, like, prequel or prelude to SPD. I don't think that, the whole thing is going to be like, because again, this is going to be a special for like NPR fans, pretty much people who grew up on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So I do expect like the Easter eggs when it comes to SPD are going to be kept to a very minimum. But I do think like in canon, this is going to be like a prequel to SPD, and a lot of the inconsistencies are going to be kind of either looked past or okay, I got to be careful how I say this because I don't want to like accidentally spoil anything from Cosmic Fury for you. But so I got to first ask, have you finished the Zed arc in Cosmic Fury?
Have I finished it? I don't know if I finished it or not. I don't know if he's coming back or not. I'm trying to remember what episode that was.
I just I wouldn't be surprised is if they said like off camera or something like that anytime, because like I made a whole meme about this because of the way they described it in a Dino Fury. I'm just like, okay, cool, so they've pretty much just established anytime there's an inconsistency or continuity error of some sort within the Power Rangers universe, you can just say the Morphin Masters did it at this point. So I feel like that's kind of what they're gonna go for if like something like that happens.
So I did get to the point to where Morphing Master Green comes in and he interferes. She interferes, and she battles Lord Zed, and then they save Zato's life, and then Master Blue comes in, and he's pissed off that she's interfering, yada yada yada, and then they put her into like a crystal or some shit. I'm not gonna lie. If that's the end of the Lord Zed storyline, talk about a disaster, bro. Like for me, it's a disaster. If that was the case, bitch, why didn't you just take care of him the first time? Like, why are you making me go through all these fucking hoops to kill this man when you literally could have just destroyed him yourself? Like, I just don't, having me do all the work, I die, and then you just come back and save me. It's just, I hated the interference, bro. This is like me watching a wrestling match, thinking I got a great, pure one-on-one wrestling match, and then some fucking idiot comes in and interferes, distracts the ref, and then the other person gets the win. And it's like, what is happening right now? So I hope that's not the end of the Lord Zed storyline. If it is, I'm sadly disappointed in it, but I'm moving on past that particular point. So we'll see. And it was just, and it was weird
without
too.
spoilers.
Yeah, don't you don't have to answer, but it was just weird too because I thought Master Blue put her into a crystal, and then she pops up in another scene to capture Zed, and then they turn to her crystal together. And I'm like, how did she get out of the crystal in the first place? Why would she put herself back in the crystal? It was I was so confused, bro. I was so confused at this episode. So it wasn't the best episode in the world for me. So if that was the end of Lord Zed, I'll be pissed, but we'll see. I still got a little bit more ways to go. Let's move on though.
Yeah, because it's like I want to kind of like give you my opinion, but I can't do that without spoiling. So that's why I'm just kind of like laughing right now. I'm like, I can't say anything, but once you finish the season, I'll give you what my overall thoughts were on that.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. And this is from next up is Adam Perea. How awesome is it that Hunter Dino will be our first full season female Red Ranger and Zeta becoming our first Zenith Ranger? And what would you like to see when we eventually get Cosmic Fury and how both Zato and Amelia switch colors? I've heard that Zato could be the one to promote Amelia as the new Red Ranger himself, becoming a supervising commander. It's so really cool that Hunter will also be the first Pink Ranger to transition to a Red Ranger, which is amazing. I'm getting goosebumps just writing this. I'm so excited to see what Cosmic Fury has in store for us. I love that she and Tessa are two beautiful ladies who have made history from being first in Power Rangers. You know, I will say this. Well, again, while I haven't finished the Amelia arc yet, you know, she's the main. Like when I look at Dino Fury, you know, she's kind of like the main character to me aside from Zato. You know, this series started off with her at Buzz Blast trying to find a job, hunting in the forest for ghosts, and then we get introduced to Ollie sort of through her. And so there definitely have been a lot of main characters that have been focused in here. And I think the three are Zato, Tessa, or Zato, Izzy, and Amelia. So again, I haven't finished Amelia's arc yet. But if it is to be believed that Amelia is kind of like one of the main leads and one of the main characters of this show, it doesn't surprise me, especially based off of her popularity that people have for her, that she would get a promotion. You know, I'd have to look further into this season and see how these two seasons wrap up before I see, you know, just personality wise, she's showcasing that of a true leader that she can certainly handle the team sort of thing. I haven't gotten to that point as of yet, but you know, I have enjoyed her character so far from what I've seen. I think Hunter's brought a really great sort of personality to Amelia, and I can see why people love her and Izzy as much as they certainly do. So it doesn't surprise me. I'll just say that.
Hmm. Yeah, I would very much agree. I'd say that when it comes to like, even though I was mentioning that Ion might have made more sense as the new Red Ranger, I'll say this when it comes to like any of the human characters, you know, definitely her kind of makes some sense out of the four of them, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. So we'll see how it turns out, though. He says, you know, what would you like to see when we eventually get Cosmic Fury and both Zato and Amelia switch powers? It would be cool if it is very much a promotion, if he gets new abilities and he's got to provide somebody else to be the leader. I'd be curious to kind of see what that scene certainly looks like. But the Zenith Ranger, I wish it was a different color scheme. Personally, it looks a little too bland for me.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, the champagne poppy look. Again, I'll have to see it on screen in action, but I just wish it was a different color choice. Just give me all white if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? Or stick with the last costume that you had before the end of Dino Fury. Rather stick with that, but we'll see. Jack Daniels. I'm not sure if you've heard of this, but what do you think of the production designer Black Panther Wakanda Forever revealing that the tribute to Chadwick Boseman was inspired by the passing of NBA legend Kobe Bryant? Amazing that both Chadwick and Kobe made huge impact in people's lives. In the beginning, it was a lot of conversation about, do we have that when Chadwick passed? Murals went up all over the world of him and his Panther suit, and the same with our heroes, with Kobe Bryant and his daughter. I mean, it's just how we sort of memorialize people that are loved. The conversation was, I don't think that people in Wakanda would do anything different, right? They would want to memorialize their chief and Panthers, what the production designer Hannah Beachler stated. Yeah, I definitely would agree with her too. You know, Kobe Bryant was somebody that had such an impact on the world, and what he was doing, and very much was taken from us way too early. Almost like he had a whole second life that he could have been just as great at outside of his NBA legend work, you know? And so for him to be taken so abruptly and to have that effect on so many people the way that it did, definitely does feel very much like the Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa sort of situation, and the idea of them memorializing Kobe Bryant in that way. I love when they take ideas from real world moments and include them in this fictional world of ours. And I thought it worked great for Black Panther Wakanda. It was very moving and very touching. Just that opening sequence of them memorializing him and paying tribute to him.
Agreed. It's something that can go wrong like really easily if you're not giving it the care and love that it deserves. But I think in the case of Wakanda Forever, they handled it really well.
Yeah, I totally agree. John Schuyler says, since the unfortunate passing of JDF, what does this mean for Tommy as a character? Unless JDF managed to do a surprising voice appearance in the 30th anniversary special. We know that in the show itself, Tommy and Kat are married and have a son named JJ. We also have Tommy and Kat as an older married couple from the Christmas episode, where they have an adult son whose name is likely JJ, as well as a grandson. Since this Christmas special since then been considered as non-canon to the TV series, does this tell you that Tommy is still alive in the Power Rangers series? If Tommy were to be killed off on the show, would this cause timeline issues where Tommy and Kat are or no longer a couple in the TV universe? We obviously cannot see Tommy on screen anymore in the series unless Tommy gets recast, though we know the Ranger fandom will get very, very upset if Tommy were to ever be recast. So I'm not sure if Hasbro would even risk recreating JD's face via CGI. Well, yeah, I don't want to see that. We all
Oh
know.
no, no.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. We all know they in Power Rangers, Rangers aren't allowed to be killed permanently. So with Tommy's case, he could just be referenced that he decided to completely retire from being a Ranger and focus on raising his son and living life with Kat. However, the idea of a Ranger being killed might change once the MMPR reunion special arrives and we learn the fate of Trini. The only other compromise to bring Tommy back on screen is having him in his Ranger suit with helmet on and his voice being recreated from old audio footage. I think you might have mentioned that too, Stuart. I'm starting to feel like maybe that's the route that they go. It almost feels like that's the safest bet if they were.
Mhm.
I just don't know if willing to recreate Tommy any other way. This really is a huge thing to be aware of for future Power Rangers if Tommy were to return to live action or existing Power Ranger universe, unless Jonathan Entwistle reboot says otherwise. I'm expecting Jonathan Entwistle's reboot to just be completely disconnected from anything that we're talking about as of right now. So I don't even think Tommy's an afterthought in Jonathan Entwistle's reboot personally. But I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna. I really don't know how they're gonna handle this, Stuart. In the sense of, do they kill off? They filmed this before the passing of JDF, so I don't believe it's a case of like, hey, they're going to the cemetery to see both Trini and Tommy. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think this was probably wrapped and completed before then.
Mhm.
So I do wonder if, I think the idea of, hey, did JDF provide some ADR work before he passed and they'll use that without him taking off his helmet? That would be cool. I would be cool with the old footage, audio footage, if they certainly wanted to go ahead and do that. But otherwise, I don't know if I would. I don't know if they have any intention of killing Tommy off or him being deceased when we get to this reunion special. So I don't know if JDF's passing will really affect things going forward. I think we're still going to get if we get an animated series, I think you could just find you a voice actor that sounds like him if that's the case. But I don't think it'll have too much effect on anything live action going forward. Do you?
Honestly, no. I'm kind of with you. I think like within the reunion special, whatever mention they have of Jason or of Tommy Oliver, it's going to be something that happened, before he had before the actor had passed away. Because I don't think that there was. I feel like the whole thing would have had to have been wrapped before he had passed away. So I don't think you're going to have like a tribute written into the episode. I think at the end you'll have like something in the credits
Right.
about it, of course. But I don't think like within the episode itself there's going to be too much. I think we're going to have an in suit actor playing his character, and the stock audio is probably what they're going to be using.
And they might have an explanation as to why Tommy's not there, but I don't think it's anything related to him, whether maybe he's retired or something like that. But I just don't think it'll have an impact on the future of the Tommy character going forward.
Same.
Jackson Peterson, you guys know where I'm going with this. Since the huge fail that was Super Mega Force, what are you guys looking forward to Power Rangers Dino Charge and hold on, wait. Um, since the huge fail that was Super Mega Force, what are you guys looking forward to with Power Rangers Dino Charge and Supercharge? Is this the idea of like,
Yeah,
is this what, oh
it's the
god,
what if questions.
do you think those two upcoming seasons can make up for the atrocity that is Super Mega Force promised us for 2 years and actually be some of the best seasons we've had since the Disney era? You know what? Can I just say something real quick before we answer this question, Stuart?
Sure.
Watching Dino Fury, um, I truly appreciated their use of the legendary battle when Zeta was talking about, what are you talking about? You don't interfere in people's lives, bro. Look, let me look up all this cool stuff. I really appreciated how they linked all those moments of non-explanation, but like the grid works in mysterious ways that we say around here, right? Showcasing that it's really been the Morphing Master's hand in all of those sort of interferences and those big moments. And it was like, you know, nothing can save the legendary fail for being as bad as it was. But the idea of how they utilize it as not only a highlight, but also emphasizing the Morphing Masters, um, them being behind it. I actually thought that they revitalized it a little bit. Like, okay, you managed to really put it into this story relatively well without making me like roll my eyes. Like, I thought they actually did a pretty good well of trying to make it cool again. And it's only really because and it's, you know what's funny, I laughed and I said out loud to myself just watching a highlight, I said, yep, that's about as long as the episode was too. Like, it just like, it happened so quick. They literally just used Super Sentai footage, just the cool stuff, and that's, you know, that's all it was. That's really all it was at the end of the day. But you know, anyway, I just wanted to say that because it was a terrible fail, but I thought Dino Fury did a pretty good job of making it look cooler than what it really was.
I'll say this. So I can't really think of as many funny jokes as I have with the past whenever talking about like you know, these what if scenarios. So I'll just say
Yeah.
this. When Dino Charge was coming out, my girlfriend and I originally were watching it to make fun of it because we had just finished like watching all of Linkara's history of Power Rangers. So, and then we were also like watching like bits and pieces of Power Rangers like from different seasons, and we saw how bad like, you know, Samurai and Megaforce were. So we decided, oh, when Dino Charge came out, we're going to start watching this as it's coming out to make fun of it. And we were both really surprised by how much we actually enjoyed the first season. And then season two, she kind of fell off, and I was like enjoying it a lot less myself because that's when I think like the writing went downhill. But regardless, I think if I were to have answered this question back in 2013, my answer would have been I have zero hope for this. I think they really dropped the ball with Megaforce. There's no way they're gonna improve anything when it comes to Dino Charge. You know, that's probably what my answer would have been.
Yeah, I can't remember where my mindset was after the legendary fail. You know, I don't know if my expectations were so low for this that it made Dino Charge better for me, but I was a really big fan of the first season. I thought it really impressed me. It definitely surprised me. It felt like a breath of fresh air. But I eventually, unfortunately, fell off at season two. There's just so many moving parts and stories got a little bit ridiculous for me. But you know, I thought they did a relatively good job of getting my excitement level up again for Power Rangers after the last one. So
I think the one problem with it was because it ended up being a lot better than we expected. I think I went into Ninja Steel expecting that to be good.
to be better, yeah.
And then that ended up being exactly what we thought Dino Charge was going to be.
Yeah, they got us, man. It was the bait and switch. It's like, here, we'll give you a good one, and then we'll give you the crappy one. The most talented man alive. He says, does Sentai have a morphing grid? I find it weird that all these different teams harness different technology and henshin devices, but they all look similar. Is there a power source connecting them all? Super Sentai isn't as connected as PR. Some have magic, some have technology, some have whatever fits the theme. I'd say the Sentai spirits, because with all the Super Sentai spirits and willpower combined, they can magically defy logic to defeat their enemy in the weirdest, flashiest way possible. Example are the past Rangers who appeared in GotG and the most recent Sentai with the weird suits. I guess I could ask the same question about Kamen Rider. Do Sentai teams and Kamen Rider harness the same energy sources?
Not as
I
far
don't
as I
think they.
know.
Yeah, not as far as I know. I feel like there's always something different that creates these powers for Super Sentai teams, um, all having different origin points. But I don't believe that there's like a morphing grid overall, though.
Yeah.
That's a good question, though.
They're even like like this is what I found so funny is that I always was like under the impression that Q Ranger was the only one that didn't take place like in the Sentai universe, but like everything else was connected. And then you get Zen Kaiger, and then it's like, oh nope, all of them are separate.
Yeah, I mean, I was always under the belief though that they were all connected at some point in time. Yeah, I always just think that they were all connected. But yeah, it looks like Zenkaji definitely changed that up. Morgan Hutchinson, hey, beautiful people. What did you all think of the confirmed and official news that Stephen Amell and David Ramsey are returning to the Flash final season? If you could speculate, how would they come in, and even Oliver himself? And could this special episode be the final goodbye of Oliver? Usually, Oliver comes to Barry if he's facing a very difficult challenge. Yeah, I'm definitely expecting some more Oliver and Barry time in here, some very sentimental advice and moments. But yeah, this is the final goodbye for Oliver. We're not seeing Homeboy again after this. I'm pretty sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know how they're gonna bring him in though. Him and David Ramsey. Yeah, because you're right. Because this David Ramsey is this Spartan is not the same Diggle from Superman and Lois. Maybe I was gonna say maybe he took up the mantle of the Green Lantern in here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna bring that shit up again.
Only.
I'm over it. I'm
Yeah.
over it, man. But yeah, I don't
That
know how Oliver comes back.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I do think this will be the final goodbye that we get with Oliver. The only like way I could see him coming back in the future is maybe if he comes back as Spectre in Superman and Lois, but that seems very, very unlikely. So yeah, I think it'll be this episode will be his final goodbye. And I want to say he comes in as the Spectre, but I don't think so, only because, like, again, that would just mean, like, whatever threat that they're facing, like, he would just have to snap his fingers and then there wouldn't even be a threat there anymore. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it definitely will be. This is from a month ago before Christmas. Power Rangers Legacy says Jason Rocky and the power transfer. Not sure if I'm the only one who's been wondering about this a lot, but since power transfer episode of MMPR, I've wondered about the idea that when Jason used his power coin in Forever Red, it was indeed his actual power coin since leaving for the peace conference. Basically, the sort of light copied his coin to Rocky, since we did see both of them in the same suit before Jason, Zach, and Trini teleported. Years later, we saw Rocky return in Dimensions in Danger as MMPR Red. So my headcanon was that Lord Draven was able to tap into the morphing grid and revive Rocky's power coin along with the other 9 veteran Rangers, since he was able to create hundreds of Robot Ranger duplicates by draining the Ranger energy from the kidnapped Rangers. Or Rocky met up with Jason at some point and borrowed his power coin. 2 years later in Beast Morphers, we all saw that Jason retrieved his power coin back from the morphing grid. So I think that at some point before Battle Grid Force was established, Jason retired his power coin and gave it to them for safekeeping, considering the Morphex Tower was the only place in the entire facility that could connect directly to the morphing grid, seen in Grid Connection. The only other simple explanation are the Morphing Masters. What are your thoughts?
I always went with the headcanon that the powers, while they were transferred, they were able to be restored afterwards, and how they got restored, million explanations, like he says here, like Morphex, that kind of stuff. But I do think it is like, I don't know. I think that basically they can both access the red Mighty Morphin
Right,
Power Ranger with their own power coin individually. It's just that they can't do it at the same time because you can't have 2 of the same power working off the grid together. But yeah.
That sounds logical to me. Sounds like that makes sense. Let's see. Gabriel, my pitch for a Spider-Man 4 film. Peter's barely scraping by, fully committed to his life as Spider-Man. His civilian life becomes an afterthought purely to raise money. He is learning from Daredevil how to be a better street-level hero, but his new mentor is concerned that Peter is losing sight of his own humanity. Spider-Man's 2 closest informants are Aaron and Miles Davis, one of the criminal known as Prowler, and the other a cop trying to reconnect with his son after being blipped. He doesn't yet realize the two are brothers, desperate for funds. He finds much needed cash selling footage of Spidey to the Daily Bugle and a new roommate in Randy Robertson. We learn more about the Bugle. JJ was once a respected journalist until he was driven out of picking fights with the wrong corrupt people. Now he's trying to fight his way back up by backing the mayor campaign of Gene DeWolf. Betty Brant is still stuck working for him after his internship at the Bugle proved toxic to admission at top journalism schools. At the beginning of the movie, the criminal underworld is in chaos with Kingpin being MIA. Spidey is focused on taking down Crime Master and his enforcers, Scorpion, Shocker, and Jack Lantern. But all that changes when a new gang leader, Mr. Negative, moves in, taking out Crime Master. Realizing he can't tackle this alone as Spidey, Peter must turn to new allies to solve the mystery of this new threat before it's too late. Cool synopsis.
Yeah, I like
Cool
it.
synopsis going. I'm a big fan of the Aaron and Miles Davis stuff in here. One of the criminal known as the Prowler, definitely setting up Miles Morales a little bit in here, if that's the direction that they certainly want to go to. Excuse me, but no, I like it, Gabriel. Nice pitch. Carter Matthews, whose death had the biggest impact in their universe, and then their universe get better or worse? Tony Stark or Green Arrow?
Man, both of them had like the ultimate sacrifice that really changed the
Ah,
universe. But I
yeah.
guess in a way, I think Green Arrow's impact had like a better, or his death had a better impact on the multiverse as a whole, whereas Iron Man's death, you know, not necessarily his death, but like everything leading up to his death, there was a little bit of a selfishness behind it. The fact that he didn't want to bring anyone back 5 years ago, right when they disappeared, because it could risk him losing his daughter. So instead, he's like, no, this is about me keeping my daughter. I have to keep her. So no, we have to bring them back now, 5 years, into the
Mm.
future, where it'll undoubtedly have a really weird impact on the world. So
Uh, so
I
you're
think
gonna go
I think
Green Arrow?
Oliver's was a little more selfless, if that makes sense.
I get you. I get you. Whose death had the biggest impact in the universe, and did their universe get better or worse? I would say Tony. I would say Tony Stark, Iron Man, had the biggest impact. And it says, because it says, does it had the so whose death had the biggest impact in the universe? I personally think it was Tony Stark. I mean, to be able to not only destroy Thanos' army, but to go ahead and bring back just millions, if not billions, of people all at once to kind of save the day. I think that's monumental. It doesn't necessarily say that that big impact had to be good for the people of the world, but
Oh, okay.
did their universe get better or worse from their big impact? I definitely do think it got worse. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a prime example as to how it got worse. Just the massive displacement of people, just the whole entire new shakeup of like governments and people trying to claim power and stuff. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier did a really good job of showcasing the chaoticness that the world was certainly in after that. Green Arrows is just like, as a viewer, it's just like, man, fucked up this multiverse for me, man. Like I like as a viewer, it's just gotten more frustrating for me. But I feel like Tony Stark's is bigger impact, and maybe in hindsight, maybe didn't do the world too many favors, besides make it a little bit more complicated for people. But yeah. Michael, this might be our last question that we answer for today. Michael, what were some of your favorite Sixth Ranger introduction episodes? Mine was Antonio's from Samurai. I really liked the entire episode. The Rangers trying to figure out who sent them a bow with a Japanese symbol that told them that someone was coming. I also really liked that when the team got his note, they quickly came to the conclusion that it could have been a Nylock, which I really appreciated that dialogue because it showed that the Rangers weren't dumb and they reminded the viewers that their dojo was protected by a force field that only those with a samurai morpher or knows their code can enter. It was a great callback to MMPR, in which no one could enter the command center without a power coin. However, Antonio's arrival was a little bit sour because a couple episodes before that, Kevin ran into a random fisherman who could have been Antonio instead as a small build up to his introduction. Unexpected arrival. That's an interesting one. I didn't even remember that, but thank you for bringing that to my attention, Michael. Do you have any favorite Sixth Ranger introductions?
Oh man, that's really hard to say because there's so many good ones. I don't want to say Tommy Oliver because that's too obvious, but I think Tommy Oliver's would be the best. I also thought Jason's reintroduction was really, really awesome
Yeah, it
too.
was. Yeah, Jason's reintroduction was really cool.
Especially the way they built it up and just like were able to hide it the entire time until it like finally came out. Yeah, I think those would be my two favorites.
I like it. Yeah, I was gonna say Jason coming back as a Sixth Ranger. So
Honorable
um
mention to Nathan Steele's entrance. I don't know if that would count as a Sixth Ranger
oh
entrance, but theirs was
yeah, I
also
would.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say so. At least that episode, I think. Yeah, I would say so. All right. I think for now, I think we'll wrap up with Michael's question. And then we'll leave Kenny, George, Abase, Alexander, and Doomsday. So just a quick 5 question live viewer question for you guys, since we are going on about 3 hours here. Stuart, you think I don't know what your schedule is like this week. Do you think you can knock out 5 questions this week in a live recording, or not a live recording, but a pre-recorded?
I should be able to tomorrow. I should have some
Okay.
time, hopefully.
All right. Well, we'll keep you guys posted, but definitely look out for that. All right. Thank you, Kenny, and everybody else for all your previous questions. But yes, we will get to the remainder questions later this week in their own short form video. So certainly look out for that. But that will wrap up our live viewer questions. Yeah, I don't know what my weekend's looking like the rest of the weekend. Actually today I'm probably gonna watch some football. The girlfriend's dad is over to celebrate Cindy's birthday, which was earlier this week. But he's here to make some delicious food. I think they're setting up some decorations outside, so it should be a nice little family gathering and some delicious food to go along with it. And then watch some more football later on today, I think. What
Nice.
about you, sir? What you got lined up?
Not too much. I might go to my brother's place if I can get a ride there to celebrate my birthday. And yeah,
When's your birthday?
2 days ago.
Oh shit! So why don't you notify nobody, man? You went on Facebook. I don't get these alerts that it's your birthday. You just incognito, man.
Yeah, trying to not remind myself that I'm getting older, maybe.
Happy birthday, Stuart.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stuart. Happy birthday to you. And many
Yay!
more. Yeah, guys, wish him a happy birthday.
But yeah, like he hasn't seen Clerks 3, so I might try to force him to watch Clerks 3 as a birthday present for me. So we'll
Is
see
it
how that
is it
goes.
out? I didn't
Oh
even realize
yeah.
the movie dropped already. You got it on
Yeah.
DVD. What the fuck?
Heck yeah.
When did this movie come and go, bro? This movie wasn't even in theaters, was it?
It was in theaters for not too long because I think it was like a Fathom event that they were playing it in theaters for, and then the rest of it was just kind of a road show.
What the fuck? I didn't even know. I'm like, I missed this movie in theaters. Like, I didn't even see it anywhere.
And if you watch it with your best bud, you are guaranteed to have teary eyes, man.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll have to check it out then.
It was really good.
I definitely want to check it out for sure. Shout out to Dion King for being in here. Thank you very much for certainly showing up today. Datilla says, question with Royal Rumble being next week, and are you doing a predictions video? Maybe I will. Maybe me and you can do a predictions video. I'll see if I can get Indy involved in that, Datilla. But yeah, let's maybe do a predictions video this week sometime whenever you're free. I might have to wait till after Raw, after I watch Raw, but maybe before I watch SmackDown. I already think The Rock is going to surprise everybody and come back and win the Royal Rumble to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39. There's a lot of denial right now that The Rock is coming back. But I think they're just trying to pull wool over our eyes, man. I think he'll make it happen. I think he needs a win right now after Black Adam and just some of the what do you call it? The negative critiques and things like that about the movie and just some of the bad light that he's been in regards to the Black Adam situation. You need a big win, bro. You need a big win. And I think WrestleMania and putting yourself back out there as The Rock would just win people over. And Dattila says he's pulling an Andrew. That's what we're calling it now, the Andrew Garfield. We just blatantly lie to our faces for for a couple of years and then surprise us.
Yeah, watch him come back in like a Black Adam outfit and then just start the petition of bring The Rock back.
If The Rock shows up at Royal Rumble in a Black Adam outfit and wins the Royal Rumble, I'll lose my shit. But we'll see. But yeah, maybe we'll do a predictions video to tell. I'll reach out to you later on this week. Yeah, man, other than that, guys, I think that's going to be it for us. We'll have some content for you guys later on this week. Certainly keep an eye out on it. I may be doing reviews for The Last of Us. I know that they dropped episode 1 last week. I did watch it. I do want to watch it again. I believe episode 2 is going to be dropping again tonight. So if I do decide to do The Last of Us reviews for the channel, I might be dropping an episode 1 and 2 review video for you guys together later on this week. But I'll definitely keep you guys posted. But other than that, that's going to do it for us here, guys. Let me take down this banner here real quick. We'll certainly see you guys next weekend for another episode of A+ Hero Report. I will be trying to do Hero Report at 11 a.m. Central Time next week, but I definitely will be keeping you guys posted if there is, in fact, a time change. So other than that, guys, that's going to be it. So do me a big favor. And yes, timestamps. I will go ahead and put timestamps. Don't worry. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for us here. So in the meantime, do us a big favor. As always, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.